Welcome to the Keeping Tabs podcast.
No, we didn't. We haven't started yet. See, now you know it's begun.
Yeah.
You get an intro. It's good. Things have beginnings and ends. That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
The beginning of new Kyle 2.0. Kyle, honestly, at this point, it's probably Kyle, like, because they don't name things like it's never Chat GPT 4.0. Then you have to like come up with like 4.0, Halo 3, Halo Reach. You know, they don't just go version 2.0, 3.0.
Look at Windows, right? Like Windows went from like 95 to 98 to XP, and I think there was a Millennium Edition at some point. It's just like, and now it's, and then they just skipped all the numbers and went to 11. There's like, now it's Windows 11, now it's Windows 12.
Is it the 12th version?
I don't think 12's out yet, but like right now they're on 11.
Yeah.
They did 10 and 11, but before that it was like all these weird names.
Yeah. I think this version of Kyle's like Kyle Zen. That's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Just a little more. You know what's funny is I'm working away from like this maximalist lifestyle that I've sort of lived for a while and trying to like bring it into more of a minimalist. Decluttering.
Yeah.
Because I have such a cluttered mind, I might as well make the things around me less cluttered in attempts to like less distractions. Everything's, dude, I'm so distracted.
Yeah. And I think that's what you have to do with ADHD. It's like the more stimuli you introduce to the ADHD brain, the more difficulty they're going to have just like existing. You know?
It's hard because there's just, oh, there's that. And it's just like, hey, just, I'm going to have distractions. Like that's inevitable. But reining it in a little bit and just finding a path that makes more sense without so many detours.
Yeah.
I have a lot of detours in my life. I mean, the detours are fun. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, it's okay to have a vision and work towards it.
I think the hardest part is like having a vision, and if the vision is long term, it's hard to put that into increments, especially when you have like an attention deficit.
For me, that's the hardest part. It's because I love big picture. I can see it.
The big like
in I even feel the feeling of it. Like it's like encompassing. Like, oh, I know what that feels like when you get there. Like I know what it looks like. And then to break it down into actionable steps, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah,
it's not so easy. Plus, those are boring.
That's the problem too. The ADHD brain is like, what is it? It's InCup.
Dude, it's the best. That's that thing is that part of therapy has resonated with me the most so far, just with like ADHD.
Let's go through the InCup. What is the I?
I already forgot.
Same.
No. So N is novelty. C is challenge. U is
urgency.
P is passion. I is interesting. So interesting, novelty, challenging, urgency, passion.
And what's really interesting is like when you slow it down and you create this like Zen way of life, that's challenging. You know what I mean? So when you make it a game that can suit your ADHD.
Everything has to be a game for me.
Yes.
It's fucked up. Like I told you, just carrying the groceries home today. It's just like, okay, we have to make this a thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't set the groceries down, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like.
The floor is lava.
Yeah. Like either way, I was going to get the groceries home. But this made it feel like an accomplishment.
For sure.
Like, yeah, I did it. I didn't set them down one time. And it's funny because they didn't weigh that much. I'm guessing probably 6 pounds. Each bag was like 6. I was like very meticulously like making sure. Dude, I get so distracted. It doesn't matter. They were when I was buying groceries, I was like, oh, I gotta have a layer between the eggs to like cushion the eggs. So I bought some coleslaw because I needed coleslaw anyways. I'm like, that'll be a perfect layer between the eggs and the fruit to like make it like a cushion for the fruit and to also protect the eggs. That's a game for me.
Yeah. Everything's
got to be like, I have to make it interesting because just grocery shopping alone by itself is
fucking boring.
But I make it a game.
Even sleep is fucking boring until you get 2 watches and an Oura ring, and now it's a fucking challenge. And now I'm like trying to beat my previous score.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm so competitive.
Which is, I mean, it's fine. That's an ADHD thing. It's an ENFP.
Just helps me focus on it.
Yeah.
Plus, if I have 3, it's hard to ignore 3 things. If I have just the ring on, it's like, but you get the watch too, all the metrics.
And then you start comparing them, right? And it's like, it adds a layer of like complexity and fun. And like even beyond the challenge. Now at this point, it's one of these other ones.
Yeah, because like there's no novelty in going to the grocery store typically.
Novelty, that's what it is.
There's not. I mean, I guess there is. Like, I like to try new things. It's funny. I really like a balance. Like, my life has to be, like, I love a routine, but then just like the little add-ins or add-outs to the routine. I guess that's everybody, right? That's life. You create like a version of every day that's pretty pleasurable and fun and content, and then the things that you don't like, you kind of eliminate, and then, oh, I want to try this. Maybe adding this little thing in.
I think a lot of people don't ever eliminate things, and that's where
You don't think they eliminate things?
I think maybe not intentionally. I think most people get stuck in their habits, get stuck in their routines, their addictions, etc., and it becomes so difficult for them to detach from these things and understand which of these routines and habits that they've formed over the years is detrimental to their way of life, that they end up getting on SSRIs or just like seeking help because they don't understand it. But it's just like, if you just start eliminating certain things that you've incorporated, the problem is habit and routine and addiction are difficult to eliminate.
Dude, this year's been funny. I didn't intend it to be this way, and it just kind of happened. Like, every single week, I've created a challenge. And I don't know, like, maybe this is like therapy just like working on me, but having a challenge every week, just like one thing that I'm kind of like, this is the theme for the week. Like, this week was just, hey, like, let's no bread, no carbs unnecessarily. Like, let's just not, I don't need to eat sandwiches and cinnamon rolls. Let's just try to eliminate that part of the diet. Didn't really change much else because that's pretty manageable. Like, okay, I'm just not going to eat bread for a week. And then you do that, and at the end of the week, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. And I feel, you know, tomorrow will be a week. I've adhered to it, I would say, like, no, like, straight up bread or pizza or anything like that. Like, I had some breaded chicken that I felt like I cheated a little bit, but whatever. But now I know that I can do that. It wasn't that hard. Because I always set these lofty goals.
That's what it is.
I got to be this for 30 days or 60 days. That's fucking hard. And then when you fail, it's hard to get back on. But for a week, I can do a week.
And even if you do, like, manage to succeed at this, like, rapid change to your lifestyle,
It's not sustainable. Even for 30 days, it's tough.
it leads to burnout, right? It's just like,
Absolutely.
because the whole time you hate it, right? You're not just gradually, incrementally incorporating things into your life. You're
Well, because it's so
doing it all at
drastic
once.
and so...
Exactly.
Yeah. It's been kind of a fun thing. I'm trying to think of the things I've, like... It's like eliminate or add. It could be either, but, like, I want to add this part to my workout. Like, I wanted to add in a little bit more cardio. Just like you do that. And then, you know, after a week, like, oh, that's pretty good. And then the next week, that's already kind of like built in there. So you have this like framework and foundation that's a little bit more solid. It's hard, but it's fun. It's been a fun kind of experiment. Like, I don't know what next week's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm like, kind of like, oh, what do I want to do next week?
I think for like those personality types that are like severe ADHD, it's like, if you know what the next week is going to be like, then you're probably like not going to stick to whatever it is that you're doing, because there has to be an element of uncertainty.
And just it's novelty, challenge,
yeah,
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you figure out what are you passionate about, add that into it, and then the week makes it feel kind of urgent, but not like, I don't know, it's weird.
I think urgency is more just like, you probably want to avoid urgency if you can. You're always going to be good at it because you have that ADHD. It's
well,
always,
urgency is just like,
fuck, I got to do this. Like,
I can't. I wait till the last minute. It's
yeah,
like that. Oh, the pressure's there because like you can't. It's like it's hard to put pressure on yourself. My therapist did a good job explaining like dopamine is like most people can get dopamine from like just thinking about doing the task. So we're like, I have to do the task, and then I get the dopamine like in the task. Because I don't get too much dopamine thinking about like doing the task before I start it.
yeah.
So most people can get that dopamine, and then that'll help them do the task. It's like I have to just start the task.
What's really fascinating?
Like I was telling him, sorry, one last thing.
You're
Like
good,
one of
you're
the
good.
things that I use is like I don't ever want to ride. Like a lot of times I don't want to hop on the echelon bike, the indoor bike. I just put the shoes on. If I just put the shoes on, like I'm gonna get on the bike. I'm not just gonna walk around my apartment in these weird like clip-in like echelon bike shoes.
And that's what my therapist was actually saying, something similar about process. Like sometimes when you don't want to get out of bed or you don't want to do dishes, it's like, how do I even get started? And she said, one step at a time, right? Like if you're having a hard time getting out of bed, you're depressed or whatever, you take the sheets off. and you just think about each step, and then you move your first leg over, and you move your second leg over, because the idea of actually being up and out and doing things is so daunting because it's so far away and abstract. But when you do it piecemeal, right, like even what you're doing with life, day to day, week to week, incorporating these different things, it makes it a whole lot easier. But when you have your idea, your eye on this huge goal, it makes it much more difficult, which is fascinating, because that's a lot of the time when we set these lofty goals, we get dopamine, and you and I have discussed this.
Fantasizing the final
the product.
Yeah.
And to the point where you get so much dopamine having done it in your mind that you don't actually ever get started to doing the actual thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Or like with the process.
Another thing I've been practicing is like, I want to work on like a project, like a creative thing. If you tell too many people about it, you get too much dopamine. Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, you should do that. And you're like, yeah, I should. And then it makes it easier, is where like just do it and then show them. And then it's the same thing, but at least you finish the product, right? Like whether or not it's good or bad doesn't matter. At least you finish the thing that you started on. Because I think a lot of ADHD people, it's so hard to finish a task. So many just like open tabs running. Like, but it feels kind of good to finish that tab and close it out. Like, all right. Like just, it's funny though. Like the week challenge thing has been like, it's been helping me in other aspects of my life, because then it's just like, then the daily challenge is kind of fun. And I'm just like today I cleaned out the fridge. I've been looking at it for a while. Like, dude, you need to throw some of these bottles away. It just needs to be organized. It's just a little cluttered in here. Today I find they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like I just threw one thing away. That's what happened is I threw one thing away. Then I threw a second thing away. And I'm like, well, fuck, now I'll just do them all. Throw this one away.
And the other
next thing I know, I had a drawer out. I'm cleaning it. I'm like, hey, I see you did it.
Yeah.
It feels good. Now I'm going to open the fridge and go,
momentum.
Yeah.
Right. You get a little bit of it, and then it snowballs into something that's very productive. And what's especially interesting too is when you start telling people about things that you're going to do, sometimes not only are you getting the dopamine from telling it, and then you don't feel motivated to do it later, but also you have this apprehension to even starting it because it might not live up to what you had been
telling everybody
about.
Yeah. Or you were like, I'm going to add this to it. I think the story's going to be about this. And then when it ends up not being about that, you're like, oh, am I going to disappoint somebody? Or like, I've lied now. It's just, no, you just work on it. It's been fun. I think about like workouts, like riding the bike. I always want to do an hour usually. Like that's kind of like, as if I do an hour, I feel really good about myself. But it's hard to be like, oh, an hour. Like, I know it's going to be hard. But just do the warm-up. Your warm-up thing takes about 10 minutes. Get that down, see how you feel. Finish that. I could go 20 minutes. I could get 20 minutes down. And all of a sudden you get to 18 minutes, you're like, I could for sure do 30. Then you get to 30. And by doing that, I notice, an hour and 7 minutes. It's like, you could probably go a couple extra minutes.
Yeah.
Get some bonus minutes in there. And then you feel really good. Is where if I set an hour, I'm just looking at it like, 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And it's like, just make put the finish line a little closer. Make it a little closer. And then when you get to it, you go, now I can push it back. Instead of having it so far out there, you're like, it's so far away.
It's interesting. It's like we talk about moving the goalposts as being this negative thing because you move it further and further and further. But moving the goalposts doesn't necessarily have to be negative if you're moving it closer.
Yeah. Make it a little bit more.
Make it manageable.
Yeah. Like if you have a big project, you want to write a book, and, just write the first page. And the funniest thing is when you do things like that, when you start to get into it, all of a sudden then the ending changes a little bit because you had the idea of like exactly how you wanted it to go, but then you get in there and you're like, this actually makes more sense. And it makes the process more fun because it's not so goal oriented.
Yes.
It's more about just enjoying the process.
Especially as an ADHD type, like somebody who is adaptive and resourceful and like somebody that like likes to be fluid with things, having a set goal is like counterproductive to you actually getting started because you want the ability to change things and modify as necessary.
Yeah, I love to adapt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like rigidness.
Totally. So it's just like by having a goal, it's like it has to be that thing. It's like that's just gonna, serve as a detriment to you actually accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
Or even getting started.
Weird perfectionism stuff in there too. Like ADHD is weird, man. It's just such a complicated thing.
It is.
And I've been misdiagnosed throughout things, and like this is the first time I've really been in therapy. I've never been this deep into something with somebody. Or like I'm realizing now, like so many, it's hard. Therapy's hard. Like it feels good, but it's just like it's humbling.
I think that's how you know it's working.
Yeah, it's humbling.
If it's easy, I don't think that you're doing it right.
Yeah. And it's like at the poker game last night, like, he's like, therapy doesn't work. And like I remember saying that, oh, it'll never work. And I think it won't until you're ready. And it sucks. Just like with our sobriety. Like I wanted to completely quit drinking a few times, but I never really wanted to, or I wasn't ready. But once you do accept that, like, you know what? My life's it's hard because one thing I was struggling with in therapy at the beginning was telling my therapist, like, I feel bad going to therapy because objectively, comparatively to a lot of people's existence, mine's pretty good. My childhood was probably okay. You know, like it wasn't some terrible thing. But these things happen to you regardless. And like I have trouble. I feel like oh, woe is me or something. It's like, I shouldn't feel shame is a big thing I experience. And it feels shameful to go to therapy. Like so many people have it so much worse. Like you're complaining about your problems. But like, how can I help anybody else until I help myself? Like, I think it kind of starts inwardly. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting journey the last...
And a lot of it too...
8 sessions, I think I've done. 7, 8 sessions of therapy, 8 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, and yeah, the growth and the progress that I've seen has been tremendous. It's been very impressive.
The thing about therapy that has made a difference is... Sorry, it looks like he's pooping.
He might be. Who's to say he's not?
Some poop. And sorry, I had to get that out of my head. I don't have ADHD though, so it's cool that I can just like, focus on stuff.
Very emblematic of the subject.
I think, at least for me, all the things that have came up, you kind of knew were there. You just didn't really know how to label them or how to categorize them or where to put them in your life or seeing how one kind of made the other or how they influence things just from one trauma to the next. I've always been aware of those things, but didn't really know how to like go about fixing them. And therapy is like kind of gives you the tool to like, I just recognize, oh, hey, you're doing that behavior that has led you down a road that's not so great. You know? And
acceptance, I think, is bigger than anything.
Dude, sometimes you just have to go, it's me.
Or it's this thing, or it's just like this action, or it's this habit, or it's this tendency, whatever it is. I want to make sure that you have to make sure you're identifying the right thing to fix. Otherwise, you're fixing things that don't need to be fixed, that aren't the problem. You need to identify the actual problem. Otherwise, you're just fixing random things and you're like, I don't know why I'm not getting better. It's like because you're not acknowledging or accepting the actual problem at hand.
Well, I look at not drinking. My life definitely got way better when I quit drinking. But the reason I drank still didn't get it is it's just now starting to get addressed. Like I knew drinking was bad for me. I knew that was a bad behavior. So I was able to like quit that bad behavior. But then you kind of you see a lot of people replace that behavior with something else.
Yes.
And it's like, what are you running from? What is this underlying cause that is creating these symptoms like alcoholism or, you know, for some people it's excessive working out. Like for me, I've been falling into that category a little bit lately, like focused really on that, which is, if you're going to be addicted to something, like improving, like I'm addicted to self-improvement. Like that's weird. And that's my new thing.
Same.
It's like, I'm still addicted. I'm addicted to it.
Same.
Like I have to get better at it. Yeah. What is that?
Challenge.
Yeah.
Novelty. It's interesting. Like, I mean, it's all the telltale signs of ADHD. It's just like when, it's because hyperfixation in general.
Because I think some people like get addicted to like the ideas of like self-improvement without the like actually self-improving.
Yeah.
Because I find, you know, a lot, you could listen to however many podcasts you want about self-improvement and then just not improve.
And then, well, you get the dopamine from thinking about improving. You get the dopamine about thinking about the end stage and the end result after having done all the hard work because you're in the podcasts or the self-help stuff thinking about you getting better. And then without even realizing that you're not actually going through the motions or the steps necessary in order to achieve that end.
Yeah, I think that's where therapy is so good because you just go so inward sometimes. It's interesting.
But I think the more inward you go, the more difficult and scary it can be for most people. I think it's easier to externalize things and blame other people and just act rather than sit in the silence and the darkness and look inward and figure out, why am I the way that I am? Why are these things that are negative in my life happening? Because you can eliminate a lot of them. You can change a lot of them. You can fix a lot of them. But a lot of people would rather, because that's hard and scary, blame other things, externalities.
Yeah, it's funny because I look at getting off of social media. It's been difficult, but now, yeah, it's been almost 2 weeks, and it's like getting a little easier, and that's hard because I don't want to. I like social media. I think everybody does. I think there's a place for it in life, but I knew it was rotting my brain, like legitimately.
Yeah.
Like I can feel like being away from it. It's just I feel so much more clear. Like I'm not necessarily happy or better. Like I miss it. Like I want to like get on there, and I'm going to at some point. I know that. Like I'm not going to just be a non-social media guy, but it's been nice to kind of step away from it for a second. Quitting porn.
It's like a cleanse.
Quitting porn is probably
Detox.
yeah, a detox. But it also, I have a tendency to do that, and then once I
Go full bore.
do that, then I just binge on it.
Fuck, I missed this so much.
Yeah, I don't. That'll be interesting to like add that back into like my routine and see what happens. Because I want to. I like social media. I'm too creative, and I want to share my art. And like, what easier way than on a platform where anybody can see it?
For sure.
It's so much fun to connect with people. But how just waste.
Well, what sucks is
Dude, scrolling. I mean, it is so easy to get on Instagram for an hour.
Yeah.
Like that's so easy. It's hard to just sit in silence for an hour. That's hard.
It is. You know what else is hard? Is connecting with people in person. Now that we have this like medium, we're connecting with everybody digitally, and it's just like we're starting to see all of the adverse effects and reactions to it, because we all want to connect with people, and we found that this digital means is much easier. But then when you once you get so accustomed and comfortable in that space, you go out and try to communicate and connect with people out in the real world. It's like you lose your instincts as a human, and people don't know how to talk to each other.
I will say that's been the coolest thing about like not being on social media. It's only been, I think, it's been 3 weeks now. It's been over 3. Is I want to talk to people in real life more. I'm a little bit more interested in like that person sitting across from me that I'm not usually just dismissive because I'm on my phone. I find myself being more interested in like the outside world. No, I mean, obviously, but because it's so easy to just, it's crazy. Yeah. And it's fine. I think everybody needs to decompress somehow, and scrolling for a half hour, an hour a night is probably okay. But dude, my screen time, Adam, is down to like 3 hours a day. It was at like 11. I've had days where it said 16 hours. I'm like, all I did was look at my phone today. That's all I did?
Yeah.
That's all I did all day long. Look at my phone. Like I was just at home doing nothing all day looking at my phone. And it wasn't always social media, but YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Googling stuff, checking my Aura apps.
And the thing is, like, when technology first came out, we were on it an hour a day and then 2 hours. And so by the time you get to 16, the reason why you don't even notice is because it's like carefully infiltrated your brain and your mind and your essence over the course of time. And then you're like trying to unwind and unwrap that like intertwining.
Dude, it's invasive. It is such an invasive thing.
It's very difficult. Yeah.
It's so addicting. It's just like, it just doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah. But it's really fascinating, like trying to, because our instincts, like we've evolved over tens and hundreds of thousands of years to be humans. And like all of that evolutionary psychology and progress is just like in an instant of time going away and evaporating and disintegrating. It's crazy. And so now, like, the effort is to try to figure out how to be a human again, right? But then, like, right around the corner, it's just like, should we fight it and try to feel better and get in the sun and try to eat healthy and avoid pollution? And
as long as I have a physical body, I think so, yeah.
Sure. But
because I do all those things and it feels better.
It feels so much better,
yeah.
Of course. But at what point do people get so lazy that they're ready to just, and like I include myself in this category a little bit just because of aging and decay and degeneration. At what point do we decide that it's more beneficial to humanity to just integrate with a robot or a cyborg, right? Like we're already kind of like interconnected with technology in so many ways with the Aura Ring and the phone and all this stuff. What happens when we start actually like integrating and like, I don't want like prostheses, right? And like there are things that technology can be beneficial for where you can kind of like create a cyborg human. You lose an arm. You want to, you want
We're talking about today. We both wear knee braces everywhere we go.
Totally.
Like I almost want to wear mine just when I'm walking around.
Same.
It's like, fuck, give me bionic legs.
For sure, right?
Let me know when those are ready. I'm in.
Totally.
I don't want to have knee pain anymore.
And so there's going to be like this inflection point where we're so intertwined with technology and like become cyborg humans that is it going to be necessary for us to still do all the natural stuff and all of the old human stuff in order to feel good?
Yeah, like you wonder if you'll miss knee pain one day.
Yeah.
Like if you have bionic legs, like,
You just never feel
my
pain.
legs kind of hurt.
Remember when I was just never... I remember when there were things that happened and I wasn't just feeling perfect all the time.
Because that doesn't sound great. I think we've talked about that before. Like you wonder if we like become integrated with AI to that extent. If there's some point where we're like, I want to go back to being human. Like dude, what if this is that? What if this is a simulation and that's what it is? It's just like we're robots outside of the simulation. We were human and we left. We got completely away from being human and you're just like an efficiency robot. And you're like, I want to, because is that what suffering is? It's just like you crave suffering after you don't have it for a while.
I think the irony there is I think you're going to have suffering there anyway. I don't think you can actually like patch suffering out of human existence, even with technology. And the reason I say that is because it's of the relative nature of happiness. So I think no matter what you do, like I was...
Well, yeah, exactly. Like their suffering is not suffering.
Like I'm in the top 1% on earth of earners in terms of income on earth. I didn't realize that until I looked it up. Like in the United States, it's not as crazy, but on earth, 1%. And I have all of these problems and I feel despair and anger and grief and all these different ways day to day. And then I improve myself in a certain way and I'm like, this is great. I fixed something. But then there's like another thing that, so I think you can strive for perfection, but the higher you go, just you're going to encounter new different problems. And I think they're going to feel just as real as the problems you had when you were at your lowest.
I will say being at your lowest, the problems are a lot simpler sometimes. It's just like when you're broke, you need money. Okay, I got to get that. That's like the more money, more problems thing. It's like now I have all this money, now I have to make up problems.
Yeah.
It's like when you're broke, you only have a couple problems.
More money, more problems, but no.
Like when you're really hungry, you have one problem.
Yeah.
I need food today.
Yeah.
I need food now. I'm hungry. Like that's,
And then when you've got a full belly and you've got shelter and you've got all this other stuff, then you know what pisses you off is the guy who left a mean comment in response to yours. Now that's the same as, like, in your brain, that's the same as I'm fucking hungry. It's just, it scales, right? So it's like if we advance and like we don't feel physical pain anymore, et cetera, there's going to be new problems that arise because that's just life, right? And if there isn't, then I don't think there's happiness either. I think it's just this even-keeled, just subtle contentment. I don't think there's anything else beyond that.
It almost feels like a good way to live your life is to do things that are difficult that make you appreciate things you take for granted. Like laying on the couch and being lazy doesn't feel good if you do it all the time. But like if you work out all day and you're productive and you spent your day working towards something, then that hour of Instagram is going to feel good.
Absolutely.
That hour on the couch, like, oh yeah. Like today, like I didn't want to, I eat out one day a week. That was one thing that I integrated this year. That was one of the first challenges. Like, hey, let's see if we can go a week without eating out. And then I realized I want to eat out sometimes. It's like one day is good. Maybe two, but right now one is good. And then I know that, Friday or Saturday night, that's my night. And that meal out isn't even about the meal out. It's more about I want to go out with friends and eat. Like,
And it's the
if I, just eating out on my own, I'm like,
and
let's
it's
go home.
the accomplishment and the reward for having done all the hard stuff and doing the things that you know you should be doing in life.
Yeah. Should be doing. That's
It's
I struggle with
interesting
that.
concept.
My therapist is like, why do you think you should do that? I'm like, I don't know why I think that I should. God damn it. Like, I'm always mad. I kind of get mad at him sometimes. Like, fuck you. Make me think about stuff. God damn it. It's weird, too, because I think he's a couple years younger than me.
Yeah.
We're close, but like...
And it's just like, how do you possess more wisdom than I do? Like, that much more. It's like crazy. But it's like, it's give and take, right?
Yeah.
Also, it's like he studied it, right? And his whole life and profession is that.
My stupid ego, I was like, does he look forward to our sessions? Or does he like, because, I mean, if you're a therapist, sometimes you probably like the real crazy ones.
For sure.
And then sometimes you might appreciate just like a more sane person. I'm like, where do I fit in? I'm like, am I interesting? Am I a challenge? Because I'm probably not. Maybe I am. I don't know. And like, I'll never know. I guess I could just ask him.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what's weird though.
because like, is he gonna lie to me?
I was gonna say, is there a barrier there for like
He kind of has to.
full transparency? Yeah.
At some point, he like. I mean, I don't want. I mean, he's obviously not gonna tell me no. Because he doesn't have to continue. He could be like, oh, I can't continue working with you.
Yeah. See, that's what's interesting is you can't, because there are like things you want to know about how you interrelate to like, but you can't get too personal with your therapist, because then if they're a good therapist, they're going to say, I'm going to have to cut this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't like, I mean, he went to like Spain or something. I was like, how was your trip? He's like, it was good. I was like, damn, he can't really tell me anything about his trip.
Yeah.
Like, he can't, he can't tell me who, like, he doesn't want me to know who,
Did you kill a hooker?
How many hookers did you kill? Did you go with a girl? A guy? Like, who'd you go with? What'd you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just asked him, I was like, what was the best thing you ate? Like, that's a question that he can answer that's, like, not too personal, but
For sure.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Therapy's weird. I like it.
I do too. I think more people should pursue it, but also
When I think about, like, healthcare being free for everyone,
mm-hmm.
like, that's what should, like, that's the thing that, to me, that's the most important part of, like, me scamming the system for some free healthcare. I'm not even scamming it. I just deserve it.
Yeah. You're not scamming it. You got Medicare or Medicaid. Yeah.
It's a little scammy. My life's just fucked up because, like, right now I have nothing because I've chosen to play poker, and now I'm broke. I'm bust. I have nothing. I'm scraping by.
But that's what Medicaid's designed for. It's people that are struggling.
Yeah, but then I also had it when I wasn't struggling so much.
Yeah.
But, like, what do you just cancel it? But that shouldn't be. I shouldn't even. This should not even be a conversation.
For sure. And I think at the time too, you're probably just like, I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna.
Well, when I signed up for it, I did need it the first time.
I get
the
it.
very first time, it was before I was even playing poker. It was like during COVID.
Yeah.
And nothing. I wasn't playing poker and wasn't working. I was doing nothing. I was like, well, I need health insurance.
No, when I got the payout from my company, like, you need health insurance.
Yeah.
I was gonna be without a job for some period of time, and I applied for Medicaid and I got it.
Now let's cut that.
Okay.
Elon Musk doesn't want that stuff like that.
No, he's gonna be like, I go after those.
That's
guys.
a waste of money.
And honestly, like, he's probably just gonna use AI to like find any, like, they're using AI. Him and his like band of 20-year-olds to like.
Dude, that's so funny. The one was called Big Balls. That was his
I don't
online
even
screen
know
name. There's one of them that's like high up. It's like he's one of his like.
Henchmen.
He's like 23, and his name online was. I don't know if it probably isn't now, but they found like an old screen name where it was Big Balls. It's just hilarious because he's just like in a suit jacket and a tie and shorts, just like a complete 23-year-old. What's 23? That's still Gen Z. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Gen Z they're running the country now with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
They don't even know better. They have no idea.
That's the thing, is they have no.
That's why he hired young people.
That's what it was. Is
Yeah.
They don't have context as to what the Constitution means. They're just nerds that just like love technology and love seeing how far they can go with it, and how much they can do with it, that they never really studied or like.
They just don't have the life experience
Yeah.
at all. Like,
To understand-
there's a reason why the president has to be a certain age. Like,
Why there are checks and of powers. Right?
Yeah.
It's not just all about you and your fun. Yeah. But like when you're 23, like when anybody's 23, we all thought that it's just all about me.
I
I'm
mean,
just having fun. It's like, whatever. I'm in the government. Holy shit. I'm fucking just like deleting shit. This is crazy. It's like I'm using AI to improve things because you think you justify it by being like, I'm improving things, right?
is that that's what I was thinking about. Is I was thinking about healthcare. Like, why should I even be? I shouldn't be embarrassed to get free healthcare.
No.
But I'm embarrassed by it because they make you feel like,
And the most fascinating part.
oh, you have Medicaid when you poor. And it's like, yes and no, but like, I just think I deserve it.
Well, the most
I think I should have fucking free healthcare.
I think everybody should have.
Yeah.
You always say that, but I think it's fascinating that other people, especially people that have health insurance, are like frown upon people for thinking that as if they're less than, and it's because
That's the psyop. That's the like.
that's the psyop.
Yeah.
Is it's like the billionaires have like convinced you to support their best interests. And like and the fact that you haven't been able to acknowledge it, again, this is how it works. The billionaires convince the people with, say, health insurance to say that the people without health insurance are
Bad.
right,
Those are
or lazy or
freeloading.
whatever. Right, same deal. Or like the billionaires who have all the resources are saying, look at the immigrant, the Mexican. They are the reason why your life is difficult. When the fact of the matter is, all of those resources in the richest country in the history of the world belong to the billionaires that are telling you to hate the immigrant and scapegoat the people that are beneath you. And it's like, it's as humans, we want to do that because we want to feel like we're better than people, right? And we want to feel like we're striving for something. But the fact of the matter is, those are the people that are controlling everything. That's the reason why your quality of life isn't what it could be, is because of those people. Don't fall into that trap of being propagandized by those people, because that's what they're trying to do, is get you on their side, even though they will never perceive you as being on their team. They just want you to think you're on their team.
Yep. You're one paycheck away from being Elon Musk instead of one paycheck away from, oh, I'll just play the power. No, my AI idea will work out, or my TikTok will go viral and I'll be famous. That's all I need to worry about.
Like,
Instead of just like, no, you're one paycheck away from having to get Medicaid and being homeless.
financial ruin, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It just sucks that like some people look at somebody who wants free healthcare and goes, that's a lazy person.
But I think we've spoken about this before, but judgment in itself is a referendum on the person that's doing the judging. And I'm very bad about this, right? Judgment is kind of, to me, a leading indicator of narcissism. The more judgmental you are towards others, the more judgmental you are towards yourself, because you tend to not like yourself. I don't want to say hate yourself. And then that is just kind of an indication of just being a narcissist in general. Like, the more you dislike yourself, I think the more narcissistic you tend to be. That was an ADHD sort of tangent.
Yeah.
But like, we can pull it back.
And, there's nowhere to pull it back to. I don't remember what we were talking about before anyways.
That's what's cool about ADHD.
Yeah.
It's like,
On to the next thing.
Everything's confusing. We were talking about just billionaires and...
Yeah. Healthcare is just... I don't really want to talk about healthcare right now, but it's funny that people look at people that use government assistance in any way as like a terrible, lazy human being.
Yeah.
And do those people exist? Sure. But like, what about people that just need, like, because ideally they're set up to help people who need help to get back to get away from it. And I guess if you make healthcare, what does society look like if
Finland,
all the basic needs are met?
Sweden, Norway, we see it. It exists. We can just literally look across the fucking ocean and be like, how are they doing? Doing pretty good? Cool, let's not do that. It's so bizarre because they don't have as many billionaires as us. Like, it's strange. But it's like, but you're not reaping the benefits of the billionaires. So it's like, where you're struggling because if you have to go get a procedure done, your high deductible plan that you're paying out of the ass for the premiums is going to make you pay $11,000 out of pocket. And then your out-of-pocket max is going to be like $25,000 or something like that. I'm fortunate that I don't have, that problem. But again, I think some people have luxuries, and then as soon as they like have climbed the ladder sufficiently high enough, they kick the ladder out from beneath them, and they're just like, fuck everybody else.
What does society look like where you can get close to no homelessness, right? Like everybody's housed, everybody's fed, everybody has health care.
The base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Right. Like that is everybody has that option. And the people, like, maybe there are still homeless people just because they don't want that. You know?
There are going to be people that just don't fit into any system.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you walk outside, some of those homeless people are like, you could probably give this guy an apartment.
You can give him anything.
And food and healthcare,
Yeah.
and he's still going to be out there being crazy.
Some people, for sure.
Like, they just don't, they can't handle that, right? Or they can't live in an apartment because they get kicked out because they're screaming at night,
Or they just break shit.
yeah, like
They just ruin the apartment. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
That exists.
Yeah,
It's real.
exactly. And like a lot of the homelessness or that. But I just wonder, it's like, why is that so scary? Or does that, they act like, I just know from being on social media for a little while and like removing a lot of like distractions from my life that I don't want to just do nothing. I don't want to just sit in my apartment and eat if I had just, my basic food in there and it was warm in there and I had healthcare. I wouldn't just, that wouldn't be the end of me. That's because that's what they're afraid of. Well, then everybody's just going to be lazy. Who's that? Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? No. Like, if somebody could say tomorrow, you could click a button and go, I don't have a job, but every time I open my fridge, there'll be enough food to eat. I never have to worry about my rent. And if I get sick, I can go to the doctor. Would you just stop doing things?
Yeah.
Would you just sit on your couch and watch TV all day?
When
I guess some people do.
When they legalized marijuana, did you just go and start getting high all the time? Like,
Yeah.
what happens if we legalize cocaine? Are you going to do that? Legalize heroin.
Mhm.
You're going to go do heroin all the time?
Yep.
Like, how about we give some individual liberties and autonomy, but also provide a safety net so that we can provide some order?
Yeah,
in
so at least those
society?
people aren't dying.
Yes.
And then you don't have to deal with all the crazy, maybe a few less crazy people out in the streets. And if that's what that person wants to do, have at it.
As long as you're not hurting another human.
Exactly. You want to sit in your apartment and scroll TikTok all day long and eat government cheese. And when you get diabetes, you can go to the doctor and get your free insulin. Like, okay, that's fine.
We're doing that anyway. we're just being charged more for it.
Yeah.
We should be. Yeah. Yeah. Like everything's so.
'Cause I think some people are just going to be that way.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. They're just, I don't want to do anything. And that person's probably needs therapy. Like, there's a reason why you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're scared of something or you're, being avoidant for some reason. I don't know. I don't know for sure what the society like that would look like. But I don't think it would be worse. Nothing logically seems like it would be worse.
Especially when you see so few with so much. Like, if you could take away 90% of the wealth of any billionaire and their lifestyle doesn't change at all.
No.
You can't do anything with all of those resources that you're hoarding. The only thing that you're doing is damaging society. That's it. That insatiable greed. And like, it's funny, Joe Rogan talks about like, well, why would Elon Musk go into the government so that he can like terminate legislators and regulators that are coming after his companies and financially benefit himself? He doesn't need any more money. He's already got all the money in the world. Why would he need any more? And it's just like, that's the key, Joe, is your brain doesn't work like that. So you're trying to put your brain into his.
Yeah.
He is insatiable. So Joe's trying to relate to him. He's just like, well, if I was him, I wouldn't want any more. I wouldn't need any more. So he's like trying to be like, well, I wouldn't do that. When in reality, a lot of these billionaires, probably most of them, probably almost all of them, maybe with the exception of maybe Mark Cuban, I don't know, like there's maybe a couple that aren't that bad, are just insatiable. They don't care about the number. They care about the proportion of the pie. So it doesn't matter how big the pie grows to. They're just going to keep taking as much of it as possible. The numbers are relevant.
Yeah. If Elon Musk could have every dollar,
Yep, all of them.
he would take it, and
Yeah.
then he would just give them out to people as he saw fit.
As he deems, absolutely.
Like, that's what he wants.
Yeah.
No, I have control of everything, and then I get to
And I think
decide what's good for everyone.
Zuckerberg, Bezos, I think a lot of them feel the same way, right? Because like they know what's best with the money, right? Then they're so narcissistic that they actually believe they know what's better.
Well, that's how they justify doing it all.
For sure.
Well, I would make society better. I would make everyone better. It's like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, nobody thinks like you. one of the weirdos out there that thinks that way.
Exactly. Better to you. And maybe there are a few metrics that we can like objectively agree upon. Like, okay, yeah, we should be trying to, help paraplegics walk, right, with Neuralink. But maybe people don't all trust you to have access to their brains. So there's nuance to
I
it
like
all.
the idea of that guy being in charge of everything.
For sure.
And then he puts a chip in my brain, and then I live in a Tesla house,
There's
my
a
Tesla car, and my Tesla robot.
Tesla robot that's going to strangle you if you say anything bad about him. Just strangle you in your sleep. Oh, just fucking die.
Well, he would never do that, like, unless he thinks that that's just keeping everybody in line.
For sure. Like he could very easily justify it. It's just like, well, it starts like that.
Yeah.
And then eventually this dude's like going around and murdering people. Like that's the prototype. We've done the studies. It's like, who did the studies? Tesla study. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that guy was a danger to society.
Yeah. He's probably the most dangerous person in the world at this moment in time. I think.
He's scary. Yeah. Like, Trump's a scary guy, but Elon Musk is way younger and way more intelligent.
Also, you look at Trump is always a stickler. Like Trump's changed a lot of his views too, because to like the H-1B visa view, as soon as Musk was all up for H-1B visas, then Trump changes his tune. He was against TikTok, and then he met with Jeff Yass, and now he's for TikTok. He gets like meets with billionaires.
It's funny because Trump's not even necessarily. I mean, money's a huge factor.
Yeah,
But he just wants people to fucking like him.
kind of.
It's fucking weird.
Kind of. He demands loyalty. He thinks loyalty is like
that's his most
key metric.
Like,
yeah.
you have to
Value.
be loyal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then by making, I mean, that makes you easy to manipulate. Oh, all I got to do is just fucking whisper sweet nothings in your ear and tell you how great you are and agree with you on some things, and then I can just get whatever I want.
But I don't think so. I think that's a part of it. But I think the other part of it is, what can you do for me? And Elon Musk has 400 billion like things that he can do for Trump. You know what I'm saying? So he donates, I think, $287 million to Trump's campaign. And Trump is actually, like, to his credit, he's a loyal dude. If you do something, he's going to get you later. I think it's corrupt.
Until like, at what point do they clash? Because Trump isn't going to be vice president.
It's too,
Trump to Elon Musk.
It's two sigma males.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there can't be two.
Like, what's going to happen at some point? Like, because Trump obviously wants to stay in power as long as possible. He's going to do everything he can to stay president. I mean, he already showed that.
Yeah.
And this time, it's like, if he doesn't do everything he can, there's no other chance. This is your last chance. Like, he's got to be trying to figure that out. Do you think that's a discussion behind closed doors?
I think so. I think there's all sorts of weird politicking and sort of maneuvering in the background, in the shadows that we don't see. But I think that as long as they can all agree on certain things, the agenda is going to get moved forward. And I think the agenda right now is like, how can we make more money? How can we siphon?
I gotta adjust my balls, dude.
You're good. I'm leaving that in this because it's hilarious.
Dude, I was like sitting on the left one, and it was like, I don't know if you see me over here. I was uncomfortable because my balls was going on.
To be fair, you're such an anxious person. You never look fully comfortable. So occasionally, like, you look less uncomfortable, but like you always look.
You know when I'm comfortable?
What's that?
Like 10 minutes after a good shit, I'm pretty like chill. Obviously a good orgasm. You get about, some PNC after that, post-nut clarity or whatever.
Yeah.
You just, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, shoot me now, it's all right. Like, if I had good sex and I got killed right afterwards, I'd be like, that's all right.
It's the physiological stuff.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I feel good.
Yeah, because I never get a good idea, and I'm like, okay, now I'm content. It's like, no, it has to be a physiological base need, like back to the monkey human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything got that out.
Yeah.
It's like nothing else matters.
And then 15 minutes later, you're like, ooh, here comes the anxiety again. What's happening? Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so good about like whacking off and going to bed.
Yeah.
Having sex and going to sleep.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have to think about it. It's because like you're not even thinking. It's just clear.
I think there's something to be said about like the people that think the least amount are probably the happiest. or the most content on the most basic level, right? Because you and I have to do this fucking mental gymnastics of like, dude, I just have to self-improve just this much, and then as soon as I do this thing and I start getting my sleep regulated, and like that, it takes.
It
all
doesn't
this
end
shit.
there. We act like it's just like there's gonna be some end.
Right.
Like, you know, it's not.
No, but the hilarious part is like we do all this just to like feel like somewhat okay about ourselves, and then like I think a really dumb person is just like, you know, they find a fucking dollar and they're like, yo, like this is gonna hold me over for the rest of the day, but they don't like actively think about it. It's just so beautiful about it. It's like the base instincts of humanity, right? Or just of being a living creature.
Being dumb is like they're confident.
Yeah.
Some of the most confident people you know, you're like, but why? How? Like, dude, I didn't ride the bus for a long time in my life, but I appreciate the times I've ridden the bus. And I used to ride the bus from community college to go hang out with Levi, and that was always an interesting bus down Sheridan. And then I would often take the Colfax bus. I think it was like the 15L, if I remember. Like maybe there's a 15L, and then like just the 15. The 15L was like limited stops. But you'd get on there, and there would just be the most interesting people. I never actually hated it. I was thinking about hopping on the light rail today. I was walking around the light rail. I was like, I could just hop on there right now and just go till it ends and just see what happens.
Okay, that was such an insane tangent.
Yes.
I got it's because you were thinking about dumb people, and dumb people.
Yes,
are
there's
on the
dumb
bus
people on the
sometimes.
bus. Okay. Yeah. See, at least you've
got
known me
you.
long enough. You can keep track. Like, what is he? Dumb people on buses. They're on the bus, and then I got on a tangent.
Oh, you know what's funny is like I'm so used to like literally I never would have mentioned anything except we're recording a podcast right now, so I just wanted to like
Yeah.
highlight it for a second.
Here's what happened. Here's how Kyle got on bus riding, and eventually I was going to get to the point. I think, unless another tangent came that was more interesting. But there was this guy, and I watched. There was this chick on the bus, and not to be mean to bus people, but they tend to be less attractive. I don't care. I'm an asshole.
If you're an attractive person, you can find someone to give you a ride.
Yeah, if you're a hot girl, you can text me. If you're a hot girl, you need a ride, and you're anywhere in Colorado, text me. I don't even have a car right now. I'll Uber you. I will. To all 6 of you that are going to see this, if you're out there. But there's a girl in there. I was like, that's a hot chick. I'm like, she's way too hot for the bus. I'm like, what's she doing on here? And then this drunk idiot goes up and he just starts hitting on her. And I could be like, where's this confidence coming from? Do you think she's gonna say yes? Has somebody ever said yes? His pitch was, I'll take you on the most extravagant date. The word extravagant was definitely the biggest word he knew, and he was not afraid to use it. He used it like 6 times. He's like, I promise it'll be so extravagant. You'll never have gone on a date so extravagant. He was drunk. And she was just like, no, I'm good. Thank you. Haha, you know. And then luckily his stop came up and he wandered off, and you could see her just like, thank God. But I admired his confidence. I'm like, that guy, there was no reason you should be that confident. And yet you are. But confidence doesn't make his life. I mean, he's still riding the bus, so.
Confidence is interesting because I think there are naturally confident people, but I don't think necessarily naturally confident people do that. I think that's like the fake confidence that he has like so many insecurities that he has to like gaslight himself every single morning into thinking like he's the fucking shit. And I think this transcends intelligence level. I think it's just like there are certain people that just wake up in the morning and they're like, I am the best thing in humanity. I am God's gift to women and men and humans alike. And but then I think those are the types of people that when they lay their head on the pillow, they're just like, I'm the most insignificant loser because it's whatever childhood trauma. And I think they're probably usually pretty crummy people as well.
He actually seemed like kind of a nice guy.
Interesting.
He didn't seem like he was like, everything he said was nice. Like, he wasn't like aggressive. He was just dumb. Like, he wasn't like, yo. And then as soon as she said no, he wasn't like, he was like, oh, okay, have a nice day. He just like got on a stop, and whenever he went, who knows?
Interesting.
It was just so interesting. Like, the guy just saw her and he goes, I want that. And he went for it. And she said no. And he was just like, whatever.
Yeah. But I think confidence transcends intelligence level. I think you can be smart. I think you can be dumb. Like, that's why
confidence is weird though, because I'm very confident in myself and some of my abilities to do certain things in certain situations. Talking to a girl in any situation, not so confident about that. Never feel like this is going to go well. I'm always like, this is going to go bad.
But I think the reason why is because
It always does.
No, I was going to say that too. But the worst case scenario is that you end up getting rejected, right? And I think to an actually confident human being, they know that that doesn't affect who they are. Like, okay, that person is just not like interested in what I have to bring to the table, right? And like I maybe didn't convey what I brought to the table well enough. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Maybe I don't look great enough. They're so secure in themselves that it means nothing to them or very little. I think people that are turbulent like us, that are naturally insecure, that means everything. Their approval of us means everything. I think that's narcissism too. It's just like approval means everything.
Yeah,
It can mean like it should just be a boost to whatever your life. It shouldn't be everything, but to me, it's everything, and it hurts so bad when I like don't get the approval or, even though, because in here I should know what I'm doing is correct. I should live my life in a way that like I'm like, okay, this is good.
It's hard though, because you just know your worth, queen. Know your worth, king. It's like, I think I have a pretty good idea of my worth. I second guess it all the time, but then I also don't want to be some guy that just thinks I'm amazing and I'm doing nothing.
I was telling my therapist that yesterday.
Like, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sick. It's like, no, dude, you're not. Like, I have tons of flaws. I want to make those flaws better. I want to improve my relationships with my family and my friends and potential partners and myself.
And I think that's the trade-off. Because I think there is a trade-off. Like, I think being confident has its perks, right? And to most people, that appears to be the better of the assertive or the turbulent. The assertive seems better. You're assertive, you're confident, like you know what your worth is. But I think the flip side of that, the dark side of the more like turbulent personalities, it's like, well, that's bad. They're insecure. But it's like a chip on their shoulder. And it's a way for them to constantly seek self-improvement. And then they like do things that can surpass even the most confident, assertive person.
I think in order to be confident, though, like if you're truly confident in a good way, you went through like an insecure part of that at some point, right? Like, how did I get confident at snowboarding? It's like I first started snowboarding. You think you're going to be really good. And then you learn a little bit and you think you're good. And then you realize you're not that good. And then you actually start to learn and then you become good. I mean, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? That's literally exactly it. It's like you start something and you're confident before you start and you think you're going to be good. And then, your confidence level is here, but your skill level is here. And then at some point they intersect and you're confident. And then all of a sudden, like, when you meet like a really good golfer, like, are you getting good at golf? Like, I'm okay. It's like, if he says he's okay, he's probably good. When you meet somebody you don't know, oh, I'm really good at golf. You're like, that guy's probably not very good at golf. Yeah. I see it at poker all the time. Oh, I'm so good at poker. I'm like, nobody I know who's good at poker says they're good at poker. They're all like, I can play here and there, whatever.
Pretty critical even sometimes.
Because you just know that, like, to get good at this, it takes so much work. Like golf, it takes so much work to get good at it. If somebody says they're okay, if nothing else, they at least understand how hard golf is.
The thing about,
and if they understand how hard golf is, they probably played enough to be like, yeah, I suck.
I think, though, confident people that go down a mountain, and if they suck, they're still confident. Like, I think confidence in certain arenas is different than confidence in general, just having a general confidence about who you are. So
I think I'm confident. I think I'm a confident human. Like, I think I'm confident in my abilities to do things. I'm confident in my ability to learn. That's where I'm confident. That's the difference.
But that's like an arena. That's like a confident in a thing. But like, I think just a generalized confidence is a little bit different, and maybe I'm wrong, but like, I think to the just actually confident person that goes down the mountain the first time snowboarding, like, they're not gonna like think they're sick. They're not gonna think they're bad. They're just gonna be like, okay, I'm probably gonna be bad, and then they're bad, and like, but it doesn't affect who they are. They're not demoralized or dejected.
That's why I'm saying I think I'm confident, because I know the first time I've tried a lot of things, I sucked at it. Like, fuck. But I knew that I was gonna Like, I didn't think I was going to be amazing at it. I think sometimes you think you're going to be better at something than you are. Then you go and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I haven't ran in a while, but I've been hiking a lot and working on the Echelon bike and went running the other day. I'm like, fuck, I thought this was going to be easier. I thought it was going to be a little easier. It was probably easier than it would have been 6 months ago, but it was still a lot harder than I thought. And then it humbled me, but it made me want to run more.
Yeah.
Okay, but I can get faster. I can get better cardio.
My take on that is, I wonder if we're just innately insecure people or innately confident people. I think a lot of the reason why you have this desire to improve and you have this like desire to get better at things is as like a result of the insecurity. And I could be completely wrong.
It is, but I'm confident. Like, I know, like, I'm confident in my abilities. And if I'm not, like, I can't think of a lot of things that I do that I'm not very confident that I can do.
Fair. Yeah. For me, it's like, I'm confident. How about talking to women?
I'm scared to do it, but I know that if I try, it's not going to be that bad.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
I'm not, dude. This is the craziest part is, it's just one or two things from like young age where I did that and it went so bad and it just fucking shot me down.
That's insecurity. That's like,
but it's crazy.
Turbulence.
It's crazy because okay, with like with women that hurt so bad that it was always, now like I think once like women that I've dated would probably say, Kyle's pretty confident. Like he was always confident with me. And it's like, yeah, but like I had to get to that point, and it's hard for me to like just like you see an attractive girl out and just be like, I want to ask her out, like the guy in the bus. Like that's terrifying for me because if she says no, I know how bad that hurt that one time, and I don't want to do it again. Yet in fucking skateboarding, when you first start skateboarding, there's nothing's easy. Like snowboarding, same thing. Skateboarding was even more difficult, I think, to like get past the learning curve.
But it's easy to fail skateboarding. It's
but
easy
why?
to fail snowboarding.
But why is women any different? That's why. Why is it?
That's a good point. That's why I think like innately like.
I guess maybe if the first time I hopped on a snowboard, I fucking mangled my fucking face in a tree, then I'd probably be like, snowboarding sucks. I'm never gonna do that again.
Because you had a traumatic experience that caused an insecurity. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's funny because like it's only in certain things like that. I'm like, oh, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
But then like anything sports related or like I'm confident because most of the sports I've played have gone well. Like, I just wonder if, like, the first time I said that to a chick, it just went well. But it's like, but then in skateboarding, it didn't matter. It still was hard. There was no going well. Like, I think that's just that everybody's first, like, a lot of people's first experience with that is probably not always so great. Unless, like, I think guys that are confident with women, I bet that guy in the bus, the first girls he talked to when he was young were probably just like successful. And then he just didn't have, or it wasn't that traumatizing. And I don't even know why it was so traumatizing, because I think about a few of them in particular and just being.
Well, yeah. But I think it's because before you asked them out, you didn't feel confident in yourself. You were an insecure person at the time. So that just exacerbated or perpetuated like the insecurity, but you were already insecure going into it. And we've spoken about this. Like, I know you were. You said you've expressed as much.
Not the first time.
But just about how you looked.
But not until that. That made me insecure.
God.
I wasn't insecure till then.
Okay.
Because this is what happened, is the very first time I went and, like, really tried to, like, talk to a girl, like in high school. Like, in middle school, I actually did okay with, like, I mean, there's, like, what were relationships in middle school. Like, she wrote my name on a binder, and then a week later we weren't together or something.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't real. But once you get to an age where, like, people were starting to have sex,
yeah,
and like that was like the goal. I remember, I'm not gonna say her name, but there was a girl, and I remember asking her out, and she was like, oh no, you're just like a friend to me. And then I heard her talking. He's like, oh, you just look so young. And then that was just like, oh, I look young to everybody. Everybody's gonna think I'm young. And they probably did for a long time, because I hit puberty late and I hit my growth spurt late, so I just looked young. And the funniest thing is like now I hate looking old. Like, I'm like, yeah, no, think I'm younger. But that I was confident up until that point because I never experienced like asking a girl out and her saying no. And I didn't think I was ugly, anything like that until that happened. Then I went, oh, I must be ugly and gross. And, girls going to like me because I look young. And I just thought that was going to be the case forever.
So it's like, it's kind of a chicken and egg situation, right? So like you can identify that as being like an inflection point, but I wonder if like that happens to another person and they're just like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's just like natural.
Well, that one was hard because the thing that they didn't like was something I couldn't do anything about. Right? Like in sports, like I could get better. I get stronger.
That's what I meant about skateboarding and snowboarding.
Yeah. Like
failing at that is fine.
That was hard then because I couldn't just look older tomorrow.
That's right.
There's nothing I could do to like speed up that process really. I mean, I guess you probably could incrementally speed it up or something. Who knows? The funniest thing is like if I had a lot of foresight, I'd be like, all right, you just got to get through a few years, buddy. And you'll. And then the funniest thing is when I broke up with basically my first ever girlfriend, I was actually super confident then. And that's when I went on like a spree of having sex with a lot of different women.
Yeah.
Because back to when we were like 21, I'd go to parties. I never felt insecure.
You were also drinking.
Yeah, that helped.
Alcohol helped.
But like that, it just, I don't know when it happened again. It happened again at some point. Like then I got like this confidence, and then all of a sudden, that kind of went away. Or maybe that was fake. Maybe that confidence was fake back then. That's probably that. But see, that confidence was fake. But the confidence before, I don't think people are innately insecure or confident.
Fair.
Because I look at my own and I'm like, I've been confident about so many things like my whole life. I've been climbing trees and jumping off things and skateboarding, and just so confident that I could do that.
Yeah.
But with women, it's like that. Those couple things just. I mean, those things literally led to more traumas, because then I started to like fake this like persona that they want older cool guys, and then I would just try to do everything I could to make myself seem bigger than I was.
Fair. Makes sense.
And that's why I was like selling drugs at a young age.
Right.
It had nothing to do with like wanting to sell drugs. Like, I mean, they're sure making money was cool, but it was just like, look at me, look how fucking old and cool.
Take me seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is like all that did was lead to more negative shit.
Of course.
And more trauma.
That's why faking things and just like being a fake person in general is just it's not sustainable. It's not good. I think that like, I'm not even going to, I'll bring confidence into this, but I think if you're not like a naturally confident person, I think acknowledging that is okay. I think you just need to figure out how to incorporate that into your pursuit of women or whatever it is that you're trying to do that does scare you, right?
Exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy, that's right.
That's really mostly what, like, dude, if I forced myself to go out the next 3 weekends in a row and talk to 10 women each night, I bet by the fucking 5th weekend, it wouldn't be so scary.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all those like guys online, and you just got to just fucking deal with the rejection. And they're not wrong, because that's the same way I've gotten good at anything.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like 30 fucking, it's hard. I'm about to be 37.
Jeez.
Oh,
I didn't realize you were that old. That's crazy, dude.
So
But it's okay. I think that
the worst thing is you see yourself every day.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't feel like you look any different, but you know that you do.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, do I look 37? Like, maybe. I don't think I do. I don't know. Who knows?
I think we both look younger, a little bit younger for our age. Good genetics.
My ring says my cardio's minus 3 years. I have the cardio of a 34-year-old, 33-year-old.
Genetics are huge for that, but also like lifestyle. Are you drinking water all the time? Are you drinking alcohol all the time? Like, you can do things.
Dude, we all know, like, the
mitigate
people who partied hard in high school and then out of high school and then into their 20s and 30s, some of them are looking pretty weathered now.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how much healthier I'd look if I never drank.
Yeah.
Man, I think when you're young enough, it just doesn't matter.
bounce back.
Like, your body just processes everything faster. But fuck, if you're drinking a lot in your 30s, your 40s are gonna suck. I think I'm a confident person. I mean, I have insecurities mostly with like
I think the difference between innate confidence and I am confident is like, first of all, you don't have to say you're a confident person, and second of all,
But I never do. I never.
sure, I'm. It's like this is like an entrapment, right? A
Yeah.
little bit. I get it, but I think it's that when you go to do a thing that's like you're just like you're not scared. You're like you just go to do the thing. It's not that scary. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna do the thing, and then if it doesn't work out, it's just whatever. I think being scared and then like pushing through it is like I think that's the faking it part. And I think
I dude, that.
but no, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying because you can be confident on the other end of it because you know who you are. You know this person is going to like who you are after that big scary part.
But it almost feels like somebody who's naturally confident is the fake one.
I don't think so.
That's the fake.
But I think
It's like, why are you you have no reason to be, and then they fail at it.
That's why I think it's innate. I think there's for whatever reason some people just are just like, I don't know what it is. I'm confident. Don't know why.
Yeah, but it's like that's the delusion.
Maybe.
Yeah, real confidence is like that. I mean, I think that's what the Dunning-Kruger thing shows. Is like you start out at something, and there's like this. You know what that? Are you familiar with Dunning-Kruger? I hope so. I put a graph right here, dude, so people can understand what I'm saying. Maybe I'm doing a bad job articulating it, but I mean that's what that shows. Is that like everybody has this moment of confidence that's unwarranted, and then a moment of being humbled, and then you all of a sudden you actually become confident.
I think like the Dunning-Kruger effect is, I could be wrong. We're talking about something we're not an expert in, but I think the Dunning-Kruger effect is more prevalent in some people, like certain people that are like delusional or like dumb or whatever it is. I don't think that's necessarily a rule for everybody in every single thing.
It's not, but like that, I mean, that's what made the study interesting. Is that it seems somewhat ubiquitous across like all things. Is that people were like, before they get good at something, they're always confident that they can do it, and then they get humbled, and then you go, oh fuck, I'm not good at this, and then that's how you learn to get good at something, is by like accepting that you're not good at it.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Because that guy was confident to talk at women, but he's probably not getting any dates. Right? Until he like accepts that he's not good, then oh fuck, maybe I have to approach women differently.
I think that's different though. That's shotgun effect. You just try enough, and with the same level of confidence, one's gonna work out. I think the reason why like
there's no guarantee.
No, there's not. But the more you put yourself out there, the
But I mean,
higher
that's
the likelihood of
I mean that's everything though,
encountering
right?
success.
Like
Correct.
if you apply for one job and you don't get it, that's
But
apply for 100 jobs, you'll probably get one.
But some people that apply for 100 jobs don't feel any sense of like failure or dejection. Whereas myself, if I go to a job interview and I fucking miss out on the interview, like it hurts. It hurts me real bad because I'm an insecure person. I'm not a very confident person. And even though I work on all these things so that once I get to the other end of it, like I get the job, I'm good at the job. I get whatever it is, like I'm good. Like if I put my mind to something, I'm gonna be fucking good at it. But I'm so insecure.
I think it's just a spectrum then. Then confident. It's not just like you're confident or you're not. It's just how confident are you?
I agree.
And
Yeah.
some people are just extremely confident.
Sure, but I do think like
Because if I applied for a job and didn't get it, wouldn't bother me one bit.
Totally. And I think that's why I think it's innate to some extent. Like whatever. I think that, but maybe not though.
Because you say that, and then I think about like the idea of going up and talking to like a pretty girl at a bar or in a store, and I would be so nervous and so scared.
I think the innate part of it is defined by whatever trauma made you insecure about it in the first place, probably. If I had to guess, right? Because, for me, the rejection is just like my perception of how people perceived me, right? And especially growing up, like, something similar to you. I was always the smallest one, so I got in fights. That's how I proved myself. That's how I was like, I'm bigger. Like, it's just like very Napoleon complex-esque.
Yeah, see, it was funny for me. I never felt, I mean, obviously you're smaller than I am, but back then I was small, but I never felt small.
I did.
Like, it wasn't until, like, obviously, like, I was wrestling, right? I couldn't wrestle kids that were 40 pounds heavier than me. I would try though, but I didn't feel like insecure about it, and I never really felt insecure about it with males. I only felt insecure about it with like women, and it didn't happen until somebody said something.
It was the same with me. I was never I didn't give a shit how much bigger like other dudes were. It was just the context of females. It was like, well, they tend to like those guys more, and it like made me sad as like an adolescent, and that carries over into your adulthood. And then
I say this all the time. I'm just gonna start talking to chicks, dude. I'm gonna be so smooth. I'm gonna be so smooth by the end of this fucking week, dude. That'll be. Hey, I need something for next week. Maybe that'll be my thing for next week.
Go talk to a girl.
Just one a day.
Yeah.
Start simple. One a day for a week.
That's a lot.
It's not that.
One a day?
I've talked to 2 today.
Where are you going?
I talked to 2 girls today. I'm not talking about like going and hitting on them. I'm just saying like,
Just
hey, how are you?
Saying stuff.
Saying something.
Yeah, I like your tattoo.
Something. Yeah. That was hard for you.
It's tough.
It took you the whole dinner.
But she was like...
And she responded, and how bad did it go?
It was fine. She was fine.
I mean, what was she going to be like? I have a boyfriend. Because that's our fear, right?
Yeah,
that you're going to be like, hey, I like your tattoo. I have a boyfriend. Fuck you. You're ugly. You're short. I hate you. You're like, whoa, Jesus. Your eyes are too close together. Like, how did you? No, I got the glasses to make them look wider. They're still look close. God damn it. Fucking Cyclops.
Yeah. You're not 6'3" white guy. Yeah. No. Yeah, but I think also it's dependent on the girl, right? Like you see those videos and the girls are just like, oh, I won't fucking talk to a guy that's not like this high or doesn't look like this or whatever, doesn't make this much money. I think that there are those women. They exist. They're real. I think but it's like you can't. I think that's why I like to feel women out first, right?
Do you think,
is this person cool?
You know what's funny is like, I know that like that's a turnoff because I'm not those guys and I have no chance with those women anyways. But I would think like, even if a girl was like, I only date fucking, do you think that 6'3" white guys are like, hell yeah? But like to me, like it would almost seem like that's kind of a turnoff. Because if somebody who's like that ignorant and that close-minded, it's probably just a bad like that person is going to suck in every other aspect of life as well.
Of course. And those 6'3" white guys are probably super turned off by those women. Like,
after they have sex with them.
After they bang them.
Yeah,
after
bang sex. Post-nut clarity, they're like,
this is a bad person.
That's not a great person.
Yeah, not interested in that.
Good tits, though.
But I do find that interesting, too. It's just like traumas make us the worst versions of ourselves, right? But like every morning you wake up, and we spoke about this a little bit on the hike, it's just like you can choose to be good and you can choose to be bad. Like, what is it? Good and evil runs through the heart of every man, right? Like, and if you choose to be bad every single morning, why not just wake up and choose good? And I know it's much easier said than done because it's trauma and it's your life situation and it's stresses and can you pay rent? I get it. But you could choose to just be good. And like I have to confront myself with that a lot, right? Like I catch myself like wanting to be evil. Be good.
Yeah, you do. I'm lucky that I don't have that conflict too much.
You're like straight good.
I pretty much just like, no, I'm like, I have to force myself to be bad sometimes.
Yep.
Like,
to protect yourself.
Hey, you can say you don't want to do that, or you can, not that people pleasing is like good or bad, but like, hey, you can not like a person.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to you about that a little bit with like, I'm not going to get into that because it's super personal, but like things from my childhood where like I wasn't allowed not to like somebody, and then that just I feel like I'm not allowed to not like anybody. And like there's some people you should not like because they're bad people.
And they wake up every morning and choose evil. They choose the darkness.
Yeah, or just, like some people like, the older you get, you meet some people like, that's just not a good person. Like that person is just a bad.
You're defective, but you don't have to be. You don't have to be defective. Like you don't even have to understand why you're being good. You can just be good if you want to. If you want to, every single moment you can be. And I think in most moments, even the bad people are good. I think they're like, they laugh and I think they're just so fucking confused and they have to give this image of evil or whatever to make themselves feel better in some way, shape, or form. But I think probably throughout the day, most of the time, at least a significant portion of the time, they do good. They're fine. But just when they're evil, they're just really evil. They're just like, I'm going to choose to be evil right now. It's crazy. But you're good. Like,
do evil people think the evil thing they're doing is the good thing?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is they gaslight themselves into believing that this is
Are the stormtroopers aware of the fact that they're on the evil side or whatever?
There's that comic, or there's a video where it's like the dude is wearing the hat and it's like a skull and crossbones or whatever. And he's just like, he's looking at the hat and he's talking to like the other soldier. And he's like, are we the baddies?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, of course not. It's like them. And he goes, why do we have the skulls? I feel like we don't need, like, are we the baddies? It's so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like I feel, and I think that when you're doing like crazy, like,
I think that was like the whole like thing with like the TikTok ban, and then when people got on Red Note, and then they're looking at like this Chinese way of life, and they're like, "Are we the bad guys?"
yeah,
and that's kind of like that's a tough one because America's pretty bad
yeah,
as a country. Like, I think the people are mostly good, but like we did a lot of bad things to allow our people to be good.
yeah. We're an imperialistic country that exercises power both hard and soft across the world in order to maintain our power and in order to maintain our ability to have these cushy consumeristic lives. And so, like, it's hard to justify that, you know what I mean? But then you look at the governments, because to me, liberty is very, and we've spoken about this ad nauseum, but liberty is very important to me. The freedom to be critical of my government. And the fact that as a Chinese person, you cannot do that, to me, just like,
Automatically makes
spits
that,
in the
yeah.
face of like good at all. Like, you're so insecure, you can't allow them to just be critical of you. You're that insecure. That's crazy.
And they just sell it to you, but like, hey, you got food and you got healthcare.
Yeah.
Do they have free healthcare in China?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a good
either.
question.
Ask AI.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask right now because I want to know.
I do too. Please.
Do they have free healthcare in China? Oh, it sucks. It's talking.
Free in the way some people might understand it. Here's a breakdown. Universal basic coverage. China has a system of universal basic medical insurance that covers most of the population. This is a significant achievement and ensures that most people have access to some level of healthcare. Not entirely free. While the basic coverage exists, it's not entirely free at the point of service. There are co-payments and out-of-pocket expenses for certain treatments, medications, and services. Tiered system. The healthcare system in China is tiered, with different
This is
levels
gonna
of
be
coverage.
long.
That phone is so sick, dude.
I do like
That
this
is
phone.
such a sick phone. The case is dope, bro. It just looks cool. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's not even, I can't even articulate how cool.
I've been very happy with this.
It's sick.
purchase.
Yeah, dude. No, I like that a lot.
I mean, I think every phone you get from here on out is going to be cooler than the previous phone you had.
Well, it's the case, too.
The case is cool.
I think it's the case, man. I don't know.
Well, I went
what it
silver.
is.
I usually go black, and silver felt better this time around.
It just looks cool.
I like it. I really like being able to open it. It's cool.
So China has
China's got
some
that.
kind of universal.
That sounds like it.
Well, you have to. Like, it's not like the United States where it's just like, if you lose your job, you don't have fucking like, access to healthcare. That's psychotic. And they're communists, right? So it's just like the community, the commune.
Yeah, everybody
right?
everybody has the same, except for not really.
Except we're a little bit more equal in the government, and yeah, and then also they're like have the capitalistic. So Jack Ma is a billionaire. They have a bunch of billionaires there. So it's just like, well, how
the problem is like
how does this work?
that's marketable to a certain extent, depending on how you market it. Because if you take somebody who's really poor and struggling, and you're like, hey, I'll give you free health care, and your groceries will be cheaper, and your cost of living will be cheaper, but you can't question anything I ever do ever again. Some people might make that deal. And I think that's what, like, why people live in China. Like, it's like, okay deal.
I think the problem is that that's the deal with the devil, right? Because I think Benjamin Franklin said it best. If you are willing to sacrifice freedom and liberty for a little bit of temporary security, then you deserve neither freedom, liberty, or security. You deserve nothing. and that's what you're willing to do. It's like, I'm going to give up my freedoms so that you can make me feel safe. Like, no, like, you got to be free. You got to have civil liberties and political liberties. And
how free do you think we are? I mean, we can get on a podcast and then go fucking, I hate Trump, I hate Elon Musk without any
reprisal.
As of right now.
Yeah.
That's what's scary, is it feels like it's teetering on the very...
fascism.
It's getting close.
Yeah, which is interesting because it's like fascism is like theoretically on the opposite ideological spectrum of communism, but then they like horseshoe where they're both like, there's like a primary centralized source of power that dictates like how people can live. It's interesting. But they're like diametrically opposed. It's like...
because like Elon Musk, if he was emperor and he heard us say that, he'd be like, just cut those guys off.
Yeah.
Get them out of there.
And he doesn't even need to like say it. He just needs to set the parameters. This is what's scary about AI and Elon Musk having all this power. Is all he needs to do is set the parameters so that the AI can scour every corner of the internet for any level of criticism. Boom. And he's got you. Oh, he criticizes me a lot. That person, and without even having to do anything, because he just sets the algorithms so that like they can punish you without him ever having to know anything about it or kill you or whatever it is, right? That's why him having
just make your life difficult.
Dominion
whatever.
is terrifying. Yeah.
It is good to see that his approval rating is fucking, nobody likes that guy being up there.
Yeah.
'Cause he's an autistic weirdo. We like when you were building rockets and cars. Now you're trying to meddle in the government. I think everybody's like, fuck you.
Stick to your strengths, bud. Like, know where you're...
You know, at least like Musk and Zuckerberg, or Zuckerberg and like Bezos do it like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They're not just like, you know, they're behind the curtain.
They also work on PR, right? You see, like, Bezos is very calculated about when he's going to make public appearances, and then he does, and he seems like a cool guy. He's wearing, like, a shirt, and he looks like he's been working out and shit.
Zuck, too, yeah.
Zuck, he's just like, yeah, dude, I just go fucking windsurfing and look at my fro, and do you see this chain? Look at my chain, dude. Like, it's crazy. It's so, like, but he's still a fucking, like, nerd and a robot, and he can't like communicate properly, and like everything he says feels calculated and inauthentic, right? Like, because that's not even to say like autistic people can't be authentic. That's what I love about autistic people, is that they are authentic. But I think you can see the inauthenticity of a human being. I have a very keen eye for it too, where it's just like I can see when someone's being like just bullshit. So I like you so much, honestly, is like you're a very authentic, genuine, like, dude. I think you can try sometimes to be a little bit like whatever, but like you're fucking sick, dude. You're just a cool human. You are a cool human at your core, dude.
I ruined your life, bro. I wonder why you can't have any friends now.
Legit, like,
you have to compare them all.
The standard is just so high. And the funny part is like that's kind of true a little bit, dude. Like I was talking about being critical. That might be it, actually. I hadn't even thought about that. And I'm not, I know you're fucking around. I was talking to my therapist yesterday about my high standards, and like, it's so hard to like meet those standards to enter like just my whatever bubble. And I'm like thinking about it, and I was like, and it is me, right? It's like my high standards for myself. That's the number one, right? I'm this perfectionistic fucking psychopath. And I'm just like, when I see cracks in facades or like inauthenticity in people or whatever, I'm just like super critical of them. But also, I just like happen to know the dopest fucking person. And I'm just like just be cool like this dude. Like, so I don't know. You're cool.
It's tough. Same. Like, I think that's like just, it's hard to make friends without, you know, like the thing that I appreciate about you the most is like your intelligence. I'm like, fuck, because you just come across so many dumb people. You just can't conversate with them because they're just not going to get there. They try. I appreciate the ones that try. Yeah. And then there's the ones that are just confident and dumb. And you're like, you're not even trying and you can't.
I would rather have somebody who's not like innately intelligent, who means well, who wants to learn, than somebody who's intelligent that just has no desire or is willing to gaslight and lie and whatever all the time. I'd much rather have the former.
It's hard to be honest.
It is.
It's a hard thing.
It is.
Especially because sometimes
you don't know.
It's okay to be like embellish, right?
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't embellish? Who doesn't want to like make a story sound a little cooler than it did the previous time? Or like, you know, I like to tell stories, and I like art, and part of telling stories is embellishing, right? Like you have to make or like
Make it interesting.
You know, if I'm writing about my time at the strip club, it's like maybe that did happen, but this other thing also happened, and then I kind of made an amalgamation of the two stories to make one better story. Or maybe it's like all these things happened in one night, and it's like that happened over the course of 2 months, but.
And it can be innocuous.
Exactly.
But at what point does it start to infiltrate the?
Well, you have to be. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Like okay, I'm lying about this right now. Like, why am I lying about it? Is it to tell a story doesn't seem so bad, for that, just for entertainment purposes. But then if you're doing it to manipulate somebody or yourself, then you have a problem. And then you start with one lie, and then it becomes two lies. Now you have a bed of lies, and you're just like, fuck.
And then before you know it, you're so overwhelmed by the amount of lies that you have to start convincing yourself that they're true.
That's been a huge thing, through therapy I've been working on. It's just you catch yourself, I'll catch myself about to tell a lie or to embellish, and you go, I don't need to do that. Or somebody will be talking about something and I want to talk about it. And then you just go, I don't know anything about that. But lately I've been doing that, and it's actually been kind of fun because I either just don't say anything at all, but somebody asked me about something. I'm trying to think. It was literally what I dealt the other night. I was sitting outside the poker game, and they were talking about, what were they talking about? Oh, horse racing and dog racing and trifectas, and that's the only word I know in that. I had no idea what they're talking about, and they were trying to ask me. I'm like, what's funny for knowing a lot about gambling? I'm like, I know nothing about this. I know nothing about the horse track. I know nothing about the dog track. And it was fun because part of me wanted to be tell a dog track story that's not true, that somebody else told, and I wanted to make my own, or tell that story. Did you ever hear this guy's story? Just to be a part of the conversation. And that wouldn't have been a lie. I could have been oh, did you ever hear blah 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 story about dog racing? Because there's a couple funny dog track stories I heard from somebody. But it was just easier to I kind of enjoy just being I don't know anything about that. I want to contribute to this conversation, but I can't. So I'm just going to, because then you actually then you can ask questions, right? Instead of trying to fake it. Now I can learn. What is a trifecta? Can you explain it to me? Because that's more interesting, right?
Absolutely.
That's what, yeah, I hear it.
I think that's mine, right?
I think when you meet somebody who's really narcissistic, and they just don't ever ask you anything about the things you're passionate about, you can see it, and it's just surface level stuff, and then they go into their own thing, because that's what a narcissist would do, right? They would just want to I want to be in the conversation, make the conversation about me. And it's when I used to work at the strip club, there's a couple guys I worked with that were just I had very little in common with, but I noticed they liked something about something, and I don't know anything about it, and I was every time I saw him, tell me more about samurai swords and fedoras. There's one guy that he really liked samurai swords and fedoras in anime. He was one of those guys. He's pretty cool. But we didn't have a lot to talk about. But man, if I got on those subjects, he would just go. I'm all right, this guy, he knows a lot about, he knew every kind of hat. That's a crazy thing.
He had a random fucking
dude. He was cause I was oh yeah, I like fedoras. He's that's not a fedora, and he's that's a he's people all
bowler hat or whatever.
Actually, one of those guys. That's not a fedora. People commonly mistake it as a fedora, but it's a blah blah. I'm oh okay.
INTP energy.
Oh, all day
energy.
Yeah.
Dude.
He was an interesting guy.
It's cool.
Super. He was funny. I watched him. The strip club makes people evolve a little bit, no matter what. I think. For some guys, it actually is it makes them more confident. I watched him become more confident. When he first started there, he had this long hair, and he was kind of he's actually a pretty big buff. He actually liked to work out, I think. He was kind of a strong dude, but he had long hair and didn't really take care of his appearance. And after 6 months of working there, he had a haircut, and he would show up a little bit more done up, a little nicer hat. It was pretty funny to see his I watched him grow a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
level up. That's cool.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think just being around the women, he's oh fuck, I should look a little better. I was yeah, strippers are crazy people, but they're pretty fucking hilarious, and it does, you don't want to be in there looking like a schmuck.
That's the base instinct of every man, is how can I make women look at me? What can I do? That's everything, dude. And it's just like for some men, it's just like get the biggest truck and be the loudest, most obnoxious people. And for like us, it's like self improvement and this fucking.
And then for
circle
women,
jerk shit.
their like innate like thing is like, how can I make this guy's life a living fucking hell? How can I cause problems? And there's no problems. How could like there should be? There's not. There should be. There should be some. It's true.
I can feel better if he can feel bad. That will make me feel bad.
Is he taking a nap? He looks happy. I hate that about that. What a lazy piece of shit. I can't. Dude, every girlfriend I haven't had any girlfriends that were happy about me napping.
They hate 'em.
There's some that
They
would.
hate 'em.
There's some that would not where I'd say it.
Yeah.
They never liked it.
No, it's because you're at peace. You're happy. You're
I used to
content.
lie. I used to lie to Nina. Bro, she hated when I napped, and she used to like. This is so funny. I didn't need a job when we were together, but she like wanted me to work because she didn't like poker, and she would go to work, and I would pretend to do Postmates so I could go home and take naps. It was so good, dude. It was so good, Adam.
It's really funny.
It was so. Those were the best naps. You know, I'd be like, I'm doing Postmates. I'm driving a lot. Like, sorry if I don't text a bunch.
Because it's like a forbidden nap. It's
It's
like
so
I'm not
good.
allowed to have this nap.
Mhm.
Oh, it's even better.
Yeah, and then she'd come home. I'd just be all like, fucking, I just like, dude, I'd have to like make the lies and like, I'd go eat like fast food or something. And so they're just like, I'd pick her up. So why does it smell like fast food in here? I'd be like, oh, I was doing Postmates. I did one order. It was weird. Didn't like it. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. And I hope she never hears this. Yeah. That'll probably send her off, dude. You shouldn't have to lie about napping.
No.
What is it about naps that make... I've never seen a girlfriend nap and been like, oh, I can't believe she's...
So this is, dude.
Like, she must be tired. Sleeping feels good.
I'm glad that you're resting. I'm glad that like all of that energy that you expended is being recovered and recuperated right now.
You know why we like when women nap?
Because
They can't cause fucking problems.
You know exactly.
They don't nap. Like, I don't even care. Like, take a nap and think about all the problems you want to cause when you wake up. But just like, take a nap for now.
Give me some reprieve.
Yeah. It's so much freedom when they nap.
Yeah.
It's so quiet.
Those were honestly like, I look back at my relationships and those are like my favorite parts. Like, obviously, like doing cool shit with them was great. But when you're just with them all the time and you just ends up like, you're just cohabitating, it's very difficult to like not have some kind of resentment, especially. And then like that resentment, I think eventually leads to dishonesty, right? It's just like,
look at now I have to lie to
Exactly.
fucking take a nap.
like,
Because
how are you feeling? I feel fine. I'm good. Because you just know that being honest is going to cause a fight. And that's why I think I'm a fucking honest person. Like, I bullshit like everybody else, but I'm a really honest person. And I think that's an impediment to me finding a relationship a lot of the time is because I think people like being courted and bullshitted a little bit. And it's just like, I do that, but like to such a small extent. And it's just not enough like people don't know how to, I don't think people know how to
the
accept
thing about that's like sucks is because it does make finding a relationship hard, but it should make the relationship you find a really good one.
Theoretically. However, humans are very volatile, irrational creatures. In a rational universe, that makes sense. But this is an irrational universe, and humans aren't rational fucking actors.
I mean, that's how, like, you know, everybody just lies and you just like have this whimsical honeymoon phase where you're happy and then
I think you kind of have to lie in general to accept like the political system and to accept reality and to accept that we're gonna die.
I mean, that's you need a level of delusion.
You do.
Or else, like, it would just be nihilism and just kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
You have to create some kind of fun little
you have to
fantasies
create a
at
purpose.
times.
You have to create, because, like, I mean, we have, I guess, instincts and, like, things in us, like, visceral desires to, like, procreate.
The base shit. Eat. Fuck.
Yeah.
Shelter.
And, like, outside of that, like, it's a lot of other time, a lot of time in the day. I can only fucking eat and sleep so much.
Yeah, you really figure out who you are. Well, I think I don't know what the quote is, but it's something like you figure out who you are when you're bored. Like, are you using that time to build? Are you using that time to fuck off? Are you using that time to try to manipulate somebody? What are you using that time in which you're bored to do? And I think the more productive you can be, and it doesn't have to be 100% go, but the more productive in general, just like it could be a steady low grade productivity too, the better off I think you're going to be in life, and the more productive a character and actor in society you're going to be. I think productivity is cool because like it's easy to get bored and just fuck off and doom scroll forever. Brain rot.
I mean, that's the whole like, brosphere Goggins kind of motive is just like, just keep working. You know, I mean, there's people like David Goggins. That's just an insane person. Like that person's an insane person. That's an insane human being. Nobody should aspire to do what he does. You shouldn't.
No.
Like that's not.
No.
I mean,
use it as motivation, but that's psychotic to try to be like, I'm going to do that.
That's crazy.
It is.
Like, my goal is I'd like to run 3 miles without having to like catch my breath. Maybe then 4 or 5. I guess he did that, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'm gonna run 200 miles.
Yeah, just straight Forrest Gump, just running from your traumas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can go overboard with anything, and I think like you're smart enough to understand the moderation. Like not only can you experience burnout, most people do, but some people don't. And then they just was like, that's my thing where I just have to go 110%. But then it's just like, what else are you neglecting, right? Because life is multifaceted. There are so many different aspects of it. So you need to, if you're going full bore at this one thing, you're neglecting other things because there's only 24 hours in a day and you got to sleep so many of them.
If you want to, I guess, get to like the highest level of something, you just devote your life to that. Like to be the best ultra marathon runner, that's all you have to do to be the best swimmer. I mean, Michael Phelps in his heyday, probably all he did was swim. And then the time he wasn't swimming, he was focused on eating and sleeping, like to make swimming better. Like when he wasn't swimming, everything he was doing was to make swimming better. Because that's the only way you can get super good at something.
Yeah.
But then what?
I was going to say, but like also that's the pinnacle, right? And there's so many other people that are dedicating as many hours in the day to being better than him that just weren't and that couldn't. There's only one best. And so it's just
at
like,
that time, yeah, for that day,
sure,
for that moment, for that race.
That's right.
Because I mean, you look at golf and like, Tiger was that's why he was so crazy because he was the best for so long.
Phelps too, but yeah.
Yeah, same thing. But now you look at golf and it's like, there's a couple guys up there and, but it changes from day to day. Like Michael Phelps pretty much just won every race, which is crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Just nobody beat him.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And the craziest part is you look at his just like anatomy and he's built like a fucking fish.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just like, so not only did you need the drive and the perseverance and the dedication, but you also just need to be built like a fish.
I mean, look at LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like
6'8", but also just
there's other guys of his stature that weren't that good.
Yeah.
But like he had all of that, plus then he had that just grit and determination to be the best.
Yeah. And he's still, I think he's on psychedelics. I see him cracking up sometimes on the sidelines and he's just tearing up and shit. And he seems like a much cooler dude. I think he's like fucking doing mushrooms or something. I really do. And then like, he's just a sharpshooter now. Like, it's just crazy. Like his evolution, like is so
Well, he just realizes now
insane.
I can't power my way through everything. So,
But he still can too, because he goes to the fucking German scientists that like inject him with whatever, dude. It's phenomenal. And then his hairline like went away, and then it came back, and then it went away, and it came back, and now it's better than ever. Like he doesn't make sense. He's a crazy like specimen of a person. It's like almost like he was made in a laboratory. It's fascinating.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just like keeps putting stuff in his body that he knows is gonna like make it better. And now I think he is. Nobody speculated this. This is completely my own thing. I am convinced he is doing psychedelics. He's just the way that he interacts with people, how cool he is, and like his like philosophy on life and basketball, and like it's all good. Like I don't need to be like. It
So
doesn't.
you're not a LeBron hater as much anymore, huh?
It's hard to be, man. Like I am still because he's a fucking Laker, and it's just like I hold grudges, and it's just like the past, like going and making the super teams and stuff. It's hard, but like he seems like a cool dude these days, and it's hard for me to hate. But I'm a born hater. Like I'm a natural hater. It's very much in my blood, in my genes, in my like biology. So I can hate. I can figure it out.
That's funny. I don't think I've ever been like a LeBron hater. I've never just been like, yeah, that guy's pretty fucking good.
You're also pretty ambivalent about like a lot of shit in life. Like you're not really a hater.
I'm not a hater.
Nah.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy, bro.
So is loving though too. You're like, cause you're like, I don't want to say you're a lover either. You're just very like ADHD. You're just like whatever the next thing is. It's like you don't have time for the time expenditure or energy it takes to be a hater, because that takes like focus, and you're just like on to the next. Like I don't care that much.
Because I'd have to sit there and like fucking like for me to hate somebody, I'm gonna have to have a ton of evidence, and then like in order to find that evidence, you got to look. Like, cause do you think you can put people in you put people into categories?
Always.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
Yeah,
It's my thing.
It's not. I'm not like that. Like it's not
For sure.
There's
Everything's
like you have friends and foes,
Mhm.
and it's just like once they're a foe, they're kind of a foe
Forever.
Yeah,
It sucks. Yeah.
Like for me, there are foes, and like that's not a person I want to be around or like. But there's a lot of people that are just like, yeah, friend, not a friend. They're just there.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's more nuanced and,
Yeah,
and
like-
like nebulous.
Yeah.
Whereas-
And then there's people like,
Yeah.
that's my friend. I like that person.
Yeah.
But it's never like, oh, that's my friend. Like, or like, and then I have friends that I'm like, yeah, but they're just like, sometimes they're a foe.
What's interesting is
don't know.
I'm always stressing nuance in life, and I'm always like trying to find where the nuances are, and I categorize things and compartmentalize things so strictly sometimes that it's like very hypocritical of like the idea of trying to find where the nuance is. Huh.
Yeah, it tends to me like with your relationships. Sometimes you like closed doors.
Yeah, it's probably a protection mechanism.
That person's cut off. They're out now.
They're irredeemable.
Yeah.
Like, however, having said that, it usually takes enough of like, I've seen enough of shit to think in my mind, and I could be completely off base, but I'm a pretty good, decent judge of character, but I could be completely wrong. But I usually find enough that I'm just like, this is not a person that I want to associate with, and I just don't think that they have the ability to introspect enough to improve. That's my thing. And then I try to help, and I end up just like making things worse, because like they don't want to be helped, they don't care. And then the way I go about it is just also when I get to the extreme radical version of it, it's just like I've tried the other versions and they didn't work. And so rather than just leave it be, I'm like, no, let's try this like last ditch nuclear bomb effort and see what happens.
Because I know what's gonna happen though.
Totally. Because I don't mind like the disconnect. Like I don't mind like I'm very
like to
I'm
me
very
it's just
independent.
to me it's just easier. It's just like I don't need that person to know that I don't like them. As where like
Yeah.
you sometimes want them to know.
Yeah.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't like
Well, to be fair, there are a lot of instances in my life where I just discontinue contact altogether. But when I do, like, say something, it's like almost like I want there to be I know you're capable of the improvement. And then they're just like, fuck you. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Then don't. And like, I am fine. And I will continue to persevere and exist. There are a lot of instances that you don't see where I just stop talking to people entirely. It's just the ones you do see are loud.
yeah. I just like for me, there's just no reason to like
Close it.
I like to leave it open because
I get it.
I don't know for a fact that this person can't change. I'll believe it, like the door will be
Ajar.
Maybe the door's closed, but it's not locked.
Sure.
It's like, or maybe it's locked, but I can unlock it. And
Yeah.
for you, it's cemented sometimes.
Oh yeah. I will like go in there and
Yeah.
I'll take the door out and like plug and abandon it.
Yeah, the door's not even there anymore. It's a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's just like, yeah, I don't, you're not dead to me, but you have to improve something, you can't just knock on the door. Like you got to do a little show outside, prove to me that you're better or, that
But
I always struggle with like, well, who am I to fucking? So that's my thing. That's why I think I do that, is because like,
who am I?
who the fuck am I to fucking say that this person, like, I'm not the arbiter of like what is good and bad. Like, I know what I like and what I don't, and I know that some things are for some people and some things aren't, and some things are for other people.
I think for me, it's like authenticity. Authenticity means a lot. And like, I think when people aren't willing to be authentic with themselves, I think that is like, can then manifest as like a lot of toxic traits outwardly. And like, again, who the fuck am I to say what's good? Who am I to be the judge or the arbiter of whether or not somebody else is authentic? I just tend to have a pretty decent eye for it. But who the fuck am I? I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I look for authenticity, and I care about it, and like genuineness. But I just think some people are just so damaged that like, I think there's an authentic person in there. They just don't know how to find it.
I agree. I think the issue...
And that's why I'm just like, I don't give up on them or cast them away necessarily. It's just, hey, when you figure that out, then come back, you know?
See, I'm like, I will love a damaged person. I have no problem with that. Like, my contention is when the damage that they have within themselves is like manifests as like them hurting other people, and then not even realizing it or not even knowing what the fuck they're doing, and then just like lying or like being dishonest with themselves to the point where it's like they continue to do it, and they, and then I try to convey it diplomatically, and then usually that's like, will result in some kind of conflict, which then makes me feel bad, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go usually nuclear option. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. And then I don't mind. And it's like, it's not conducive for having...
You cut them off with war. Almost. As where I'll cut somebody off with peace. Like, I just go, okay.
This is the idealist and the cynic.
I mean, that's from, it's just, okay, like, you're not for me. Or like, this isn't working. I don't need to call you names. I don't need to call out. I don't even need to tell you things. I don't need to say anything to you. I don't have to like make you feel any certain way, good or bad. Just okay. We can see differently on this, or we're not going to agree on this, and that's okay. I don't need to fire shots.
Yeah.
Even if you fire them at me, like, oh, well, shit. All right.
It's counterproductive too.
I told you I was reading like I somehow like was like searching for a name in my text messages, and then I came in like across like an ex in these conversation, and it was so funny because like I don't think that person's a bad person, but reading the text thread that I like just was just some random text thread that we had, and I was like, oh, I remember why this didn't work. Yeah. Like it was me just maybe like what I was doing was wrong, but it was just this person was angry and wanted this to happen and wanted it to be like this, and I was just like trying to make peace and like trying to be good, and that was making them angrier.
Yeah.
They wanted to fight, and I wouldn't give it to them. And a certain part of me, like that's my avoidant shit too.
Yeah.
It's like I was just avoiding the conflict and like didn't know how to deal with it. And I was like, I just want this to go away.
Well, between like, that's the difference between like the secure attached and then the disorganized and the avoidant and the anxious, is like the secure knows how to handle these conflicts much better than the rest of them do, right?
Well, and a secure person never is involved with that person in the first place.
Exactly.
The way they avoid, the way they deal with that conflict is by like seeing the writing on the wall and leaving. I'm disorganized and insecure, so I'm like, no, I got to stay in this thing. A secure person just sees the red flags, like it's hard because an avoidant can gaslight themselves into thinking they're secure sometimes. Like, oh, that's a red flag. And then it's like, how bad of a red flag? Also, like, there's going to be red flags. Just how many, at what point is it like, oh, there's too many?
Yeah.
At what point is this just like a slight character flaw? And what point is this a bad person? What point is
a
like
fatal flaw?
Yeah, it's just it's hard to, like it's hard to figure that shit out.
It is,
because that's what I'm struggling with now, because I've never had boundaries. I'm terrible with them. And then I go, okay, is this a boundary or a red flag? Like, is this something I don't like? You know, like, because I'm like, is this a red? Do I perceive this as a red flag because I'm insecure and I don't like this thing about it, and I'm controlling, and I like, this is like, is that a boundary, or is that a red flag, or am I crazy, or is this my past trauma making it hard for me to accept? Like, should I be upset about that? My therapist had something. He's like, yeah, if your, standards are, I'm only going to date a person who can do 7 consecutive cartwheels. It's going to be hard to find somebody who can do 7 consecutive cartwheels, But like, you also, like, for me, because I was asking, like, is it crazy of me to like not want my girlfriend to talk to a bunch of dudes? Like, is that because I know that there's some level of that is insecurity, but like, at what point is it not insecurity and this person is just like cheating on me? Like, I don't know now. Like, it's very confusing.
Or requires so much narcissistic supply that you can never like satisfy this person.
Yeah, but then also, like, am I going to meet a girl who isn't that way and just has a couple guy friends who are just platonic? Maybe one of them does want to fuck her or something, but like, I have to trust her enough to not fuck him. And then like, I'm just gonna go, no, you can have no guy friends. Like, that's crazy. Because I also can't do that.
Right.
And it's like, but then it's like, you can have 3 guy friends. 4 is bad. And if I don't like one of those 3, he's out. And then you can audition a new one. Like, what? Like, it's crazy. That's crazy. Like, how do you, like, I'm just gonna meet a woman who's beautiful, 26 years old. I don't want her to be a virgin. Like, that doesn't sound fun. But like, only have had sex with like 2 guys, and they were both like respectable humans. You have no guy friends. 0.
No trauma.
No trauma.
Can't have a speck of trauma. If I suspect that you've had any, I'm out.
And if you're too clingy, can't deal with that. But you also can't be avoidant. You have to be the perfect balance of neediness. Like, you basically, because that's like.
But you have to validate me because I'm a little bit insecure.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a narcissist, so I need to be told I'm cool and good, and But like, if you do it too much, then I'm like turned off. I want you to be around when I want you to be around, and then when I want you to leave, you need to just leave. You can only come when I say. I'm like, oh, you're the problem, Kyle. Oh, it's you. You're kind of narcissistic and controlling and crazy and insecure. It's you. No woman's gonna fucking fit that mold because you're crazy. So that's fun to know about yourself, and then just move forward in life.
Well, so there's an alternative, right? So this is the crazy part. You don't have to have somebody. Like, that's what's so crazy is like, but the problem is like, we want somebody. Like, we are biologically created over millions of years through evolution to need a partner to procreate with. That's the whole point of this whole thing, and everything in our base instinct in the lizard brain to do that. And so there is an alternative, but that is the darkest, like, most fundamentally antagonistic to the human essence, that alternative that you could possibly imagine or concoct.
Yeah, for me, it's like my alone time is like my time out of a relationship is not just spent like, I want to find, I'm going to date again. Like, I want to date again.
I want to date.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Right now, I'm not, because of all the things that I just said.
Yeah.
Like, I have all that shit that's like, what the fuck is that? Like, why are you like that?
Yeah.
And then you have, and I've done enough introspection where I'm like, okay, I kind of see, I know where this little thing comes from. I know, the reason I'm controlling is because of this past trauma, and the reason I'm avoidant is because of this past trauma, and the reason I'm this way, and then like, okay, and then you get a little better at it, and that's why you like being alone is okay.
I was talking to my therapist.
But then you get comfortable with that. Like,
that too. But I was talking to my therapist about like self-improvement, and I think it can be a little detrimental to your end goals, because once you improve so much, then your standards for the other person are going to be that much higher every single step of the way that you're self-improving. And so when your standards, like when you're at the top of the mountain, you're by yourself. And I'm not to say like we're the best or whatever, but it's going to be very difficult to find somebody else that's like on that level of improvement that you perceive to be adequate.
I think it's, I mean, it's finding somebody who is growing in that direction with you. You meet somebody, oh, like, you know, like
Yes.
probably the person that I'm going to meet that's going to be the best is a chick who's had some failed relationships and struggled, and now she's coming to terms with like some of her shit, and she's improving, and oh, you know, and then you see, because if you meet somebody who's too far secure, you're like, ah, fuck. It's like, but you know, and then if they're going this way, you can't date them, and if you know, if they're too far behind, it's like you're carrying all their stuff.
And then if they're higher on the mountain than you are, then you might feel insecure.
You're dragging them down or something.
Yeah.
It's
Or like you're going to lose them. And so there's like this like anxiety the whole time.
Matthew McConaughey had a cool thing that he was talking about. It's like, you know, sometimes they're running and you're walking. Sometimes you're running and they're walking. It's just, you just can't let them get too far behind. And that's cool. That's a cool, I mean, because that's probably what a relationship is. Even like our friendship, you see, it's like sometimes one of us is up, one of us is down. But it's like you never leave that person. You never just like, you just okay. I got to carry a little bit of the load right now. Like I have to be that. They got to lean on me a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But it is when it's good is when you know that it's going to be reciprocated.
Yes.
Because in some relationships, like my last one, it felt like I was just being leaned on. And at first I was like, that's fine because I thought it was going to be reciprocated. And then when I reached a time where I needed to lean, then all of a sudden I was a burden.
Yeah.
And then, oh, well, this isn't attractive. This isn't the guy that, you know, I was like, oh, well, fuck. Like, you're right. Like, there was things that I did that there was plenty of fault on mine, but it just felt like when I needed to, like, lean in a little bit, that I, like, you know, it wasn't, this person wasn't in it for the long time. As we're with, like, our friendship, I know that, like, if you're going through some shit and you're leaning on me, it's fine because, like, trust me, in like 4 months, I'm going to fuck my life up terrible. And like, you're going to have to deal with my shit for a minute. And I know you will.
Of course.
And it's just like, that makes it easier. And, you know, I've had a couple relationships that I think were like that a little bit, but it's just hard.
Relationships are difficult. And I forget where I heard it. But somebody was mentioning like the more, might have been just George Carlin, just I like people. I like individuals. But the more people you integrate into anything, the more difficult it becomes and the more like volatile and tumultuous it becomes. And I think even with the individual itself, the one person, that's why being alone I think can be a good thing, right? Is because you can find yourself and you can understand yourself. And then once you start incorporating more people or needing more people, and then you start getting groups together, and then you start trying to figure out what's the consensus of this group or that's when people start to become irrational and panicky and volatile and destructive. And so incorporating another human into your life where you're going to live together every single day is a wildly, wildly difficult experience.
And then some people have children. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I get it because they're like, they find a way to make it work. But then a lot of times they don't.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I look at my own parents. It's like, how the hell did you two ever end up together in the first place? You procreated twice. Like, now you're divorced, which makes sense because, like, how did that ever even come together in the first place?
You two make no sense.
Yeah. And then now I exist. And I got to deal with that. And then I got to deal with everything else. It's just like, what the fuck? Because like the idea of having a kid is so scary. There's nothing I want more, to be honest.
Of course.
Like deep down inside, like, fuck, I don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's got to be if it's not the most powerful experience in life, it's up there in the top 5, right? Top 3. What is the top 3 that they say is psychedelics, death of a parent, and
and the birth of a child.
It seems like that's, like, you know, and we're lucky to be men. Like, no wonder why women are fucking insane, because they have that clock that ticks a lot faster for that than us.
You've got so many eggs. Yeah.
And they have so many eggs, and when they're gone, they're gone.
And every ovulation cycle can be a little bit different than the last. And every little, like, hormonal fluctuation can feel a little bit different than and you know this one's going to be, I'm going to be fucking horny. And you know this one, I'm going to feel real mad at people and real irritable. I'm not going to get good sleep. Like, and they do that on a cycle every single month in perpetuity until menopause, and you think it's going to get better with menopause. No, it gets worse.
Or you take birth control and you shut that down.
Yeah.
And you probably shouldn't shut that down because for whatever reason that's natural.
And then it does all these other things. So it's just like, well, I'm going to shut down I'm going to get on a progesterone-based birth control. I'm going to get on an estrogen. And then it's like you're just fucking with all of your hormones and these things that were implemented into your biology through hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. And I'm just going to tinker with it because I don't like feeling a certain way, or I don't want to get pregnant, or whatever it is. Like, that's not fucking normal, dude. And
yeah, because if I get pregnant, I might have to keep it. Like, you just...
And so...
now I have to take birth control and fuck with my psychology.
Right.
And my physiology.
And now I have to deal with the judgment of all these assholes, like fucking podcast dickheads who are going to fucking like judge me for fucking being irrational sometimes. My bad.
Women have it tough too.
They do. I'm a feminist.
They do.
We play, right? And I think there's an element of like, I think people need to stop being so sensitive to humor. If it's obvious humor, like if this person has ill intent, then castigate them all you want. But understand the nuance. Is there humor here? Is this person, what's the intent? They're not trying to hurt you. And if you perceive everything as an attack, then that's probably more of a referendum on you than it is on the people that are quote unquote attacking you. And there are some people with ill intent, of course, but like when everything's an attack and everything triggers you, it's just like you should do some self-reflection and understand yourself and why you're being so triggered by everything first. And I have that innate within me at times, for sure. But yeah, I think a lot of those people that are like professionally triggered need to do some self-evaluation. I think it'd be beneficial for them.
So
I like deeply contemplative Kyle. It's new. He's like new guy. I like it. It's cool.
I'm in Zen, dude.
Zen, man.
The longer your hair gets, the more
zen,
the more
dude.
Zen you get, dude. You just keep growing it out, and you just fucking Zen. This be so long one day. I'm be so Zen.
Trying to think of like a bald Zen guy.
Bald works too, though. 'Cause it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Because like it's like
one or the other.
Yeah, well, yeah, like if you really want to be like fucking, you shave it every day, then you don't have to worry about it. If you just let it grow every day, you don't have to worry about it.
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
no, because shaving it every day is a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. Growing it is just growing
But there's
it.
discipline in that. They're like different Zens.
Huh. And there's
Because
also
like the monks are all shaved heads.
true. Because, well, I think hair is vanity.
You know what it is? It's like the fucking cult leader. The cult leaders have the long hair.
Because it's vanity. And as a cult leader, you need to attract people.
Yeah, and the hair is vanity. 'Cause when if you shave your head and you're just like, then you're actually Zen.
You're truly just like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I know that this thing is like something that is going to make me more attractive. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was thinking about Buddhism a lot, and just that one always made the most sense to me. Of all the, I remember in high school, like I got into it, and like, yeah, it's your desires and your expectations. Those are what make life shitty, because nobody's ever going to live up to your expectations.
Yeah.
You're always your expectation. Like every once in a while, something exceeds your expectations, and like that's cool. But even that leads to like that's problematic, because now your expectations are higher.
That's my whole life, dude. But yeah, it sucks.
If you don't want anything, it's pretty easy. You just eat because you're.
But
you
also
have to
then,
survive.
then what? Like, there's a trade-off because, like, what's the point of living at that point? Like, just kill yourself.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like if you don't have some delusion and you don't construct some purpose, like the alternative's really bleak.
It's dark. But
Or
it's not.
or it's liberating
Yeah.
to just go, I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what I think though is what happens is when you remove all your
Worldly desire.
like a lot of like your materialism, like that's why I'm like feeling more minimalistic. You get rid of a lot of that. The things that are still like what you still care about, you're like, oh, I really care about this.
More meaningful.
Like that was the core value thing I did in therapy. It's just like, well, it's really at the bottom because you know he put out 20 cards and at first I'm like, I like all of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, well, you got to pick 10. I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, let's narrow it down to 5. I'm like, fuck, this is hard. And then eventually you get to 1, you know, and I didn't ever really was like, yeah, that's the one. I was like, yeah, that is the one. I saw that. I still,
Yeah.
And I remember grabbing 3, and I'm like, I don't know if I can part, dude, with all. I need these 3. And he was like, that's fine. He was like, you can have 3. I was like, yes, and win. But it was hard for me to I couldn't there was just a couple that I couldn't get rid of, man. It's like having to choose which kid to shoot. I can't. I love them all. I need these 3. But then, the first 10 felt like I really needed all of them. And you look at them and you're like, all right, I can get rid of some of these things.
When you said, but then, I thought you were going to go real dark and be like, but then there's always the kid I didn't really like that much. The scapegoat.
I think if you ask, I don't know anything about being most parents, but I've asked my mom a couple times, which one do you like the best? And she's like, depends on the day. And I was like, that's fair.
That is fair.
I feel like there's some days you probably didn't like me very much. And there's some days I'm pretty tight. Pretty tight.
Yeah. I don't see fucking... I don't want to say anything mean about your sister. Your sister's the best, but I don't see her fucking bombing down a mountain at 400 miles an hour.
No. She's a little more collected. Yeah. I'm sure she was stressful as a kid, though. Because she was angsty. She was sad girl, emo-y.
But that didn't, affect the parent.
No, it does.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Think if you had a girlfriend that was just moping around all the time.
I like Mophie. I'll do that.
Yeah,
I like Mophie. Because, I have
Mophie.
this fucked up, hero complex, right? Where it's just, I like I like helping, right? But then when I feel like my help isn't being reciprocated or understood, then I feel what the fuck am I doing? What's the point of this? It's it's weird. I should just accept people more as they are. And if I think they're bad, then just fucking bounce. I don't need to fucking say shit. I don't need to but I think a lot of the resentment that I have is when I'm trying to play the hero. And this is on me. This is purely nobody else. When I'm trying to play the hero and I feel if somebody's I want help and I'm trying to be helpful and it's just it doesn't feel
well, you have to.
I'm helping. And then it's just it turns out this isn't about help. This is just about narcissistic supplies.
Yes,
this is about attention.
That's the problem. It's some people I want help, but they don't actually want help.
You just want attention.
They want attention, or they only want help if it's the way that they want it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can help me as long as it fits my narrative. That's problematic. Because I want to get better. But it's you only want to get better if it's given to you. Yeah,
talk to yourself at that point, right? You're just picking and choosing the things that, people are trying to help you or giving you advice for that you would already convinced yourself of anyway. So it's just it's just confirmation bias. Right? I like critical, I like when you're critical of me and you're yeah, you can do this. You can be like that. Sometimes I'm fuck, you're right. I should improve upon that.
I mean, I don't know if you should improve upon it or not.
But that's for me to decide.
Yeah.
But I like the critical, I'm
not trying to tell you that you shouldn't do something or should do something, but I've noticed that you do this. And I think, I brought it up because I think it might help you to, sometimes it seems unnecessary to just now I gotta light this on fire. This bridge needs to be burned. It's or you can just leave it, eventually it might just rot and fall apart. You don't need to light it on fire right this second.
Yeah.
Maybe if you just quit walking on it, the elements will get it, and that's okay.
That's an ego thing.
Yeah.
It's it's a control thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to feel in control of this. If it degrades, I had no control over that, right? It was just I like to manifest my own destiny.
We all do.
That's an
issue. I have control issues too, with everything. I hate when I'm not in control of something. That's why I sabotage.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't control this? Fucking, well, I don't know. If something's making me hurt and I can't control that thing that's going to make me hurt, I'll do something else that hurts more because now I'm in control of the pain. Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
It is.
That's an insane thing. But people do it all the time. and sometimes it's, sometimes kids cut themselves.
Yep.
Sometimes it's driving reckless in traffic. I try not to do that because I don't ever want to endanger somebody else with my sabotage. But that's why my last relationship was hard. It's because I was sabotaging. And my sabotage now all of a sudden affected somebody else because we lived together. And that's hard. That's why, I was also sabotaging because that person was hurting me. But then it was just there's just so many
But that's also why being involved with a toxic person is going to bring out the worst parts of you, right? Getting involved with a human that's like on that upward trajectory, right? Like whether it's slow or like whatever, or a tumultuous, like disorganized, like chaotic person is going to bring out the tumultuous, disorganized, chaotic you. The improvement in a human, or like that trajectory, is going to bring out the best version of you.
True. I think that's what you got to look for, is like, does this person bring out my good qualities or my bad ones?
We're going on a fucking long time right now, dude.
Whatever. What else am I going to do? I had an exciting Valentine's Day yesterday.
Yeah. You had 2 dates, right?
Adam, I don't even have a girl to text. If I wanted to text a girl right now, it's going to be a girl that I'm not interested in sexually. I don't have a girl that I'm interested in dating that I'm talking to. No, I'm not even the one. Not a single one. It's crazy. I guess I probably have some crushes out there, but like none that like I'm even talking to or acting on at all.
That girl at Rodizio, dude.
That was one of the prettiest girls
She was
I've
beautiful,
seen in a while.
dude. Like, what was that? And she was cool. She was so cool. And I don't with your cynicism. Let me be idealistic for a second. Come on, bro.
All the pretty girls are cool at first. Dude, she's so smart, and it's like, no, she's had giant tits, dude. Oh yeah.
The banter was good. The banter was good.
Bro, I've had that banter with homeless men.
Well, that's because dudes are fucking cool. Like, dudes are just sick. You don't get that from women very often. I already said I'm a feminist, so that's not a sexist thing to say.
I think I'm a humanist.
Yeah,
I don't think I give a fuck about.
It's been on all the time. Didn't know that.
I did.
Not me.
Yeah, I didn't take it off because it was your thing.
Appreciate it.
And you should enjoy that.
Oh, I felt good.
Yeah. Do you wish you could do it again?
Yeah.
Do you regret doing it?
No.
No? Okay.
That was nice. That felt good. I'm glad we got it on camera. I never noticed that.
I can't remember. I had one like that not that long ago. Something I've owned for years. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
I don't know how I never noticed that. I've looked at this thing 100 times, 1,000 times.
I know. It's so clear now, too. It looks so much cleaner.
It looks beautiful.
I do that with my glasses. I won't clean my glasses for like a week. And then one day I'll like pull out my thing and clean it. I'm like, oh, this is what it's like to see.
The world's not supposed to look like that. Yeah.
Because I wear them when I work out. I wear them when I run. They just get so smudgy.
That's like a metaphor for everything. Like even when you don't like vacuum your carpet or something, you vacuum it and it's just like you're like, oh, it's nicer. I didn't realize how dirty it was. Or like life in general. Like the clutter slowly accumulates. It's like when you like your screen time, right? Over time, it slowly accumulates to the point where you don't even notice it. And then once you start to eliminate it or clean it up, you're like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah,
but because it's so gradual, you don't notice.
That's been like what I've been working on right now. I think I was telling you, like, let's just strip it all down. Let's just get rid of everything. Eliminate all my distractions, all my desires. That's why I'm not dating. I'm not even talking to chicks, not even on social media. Just get rid of all of it. Just fucking strip it away. Then what? Then you can start building like piece by piece again. Like let's start. It's like hitting like like do you want to factory reset your phone? Like I feel like I'm trying to like factory reset a little bit right now. Just I don't need any more clothes. Like just get rid of everything. Like decluttering my apartment, decluttering my fridge, decluttering my diet, decluttering my just whatever. Just get it clean because it needs. I think that's what's happening. I feel like my life isn't that bad. I was just like dirty and cluttered and. You just need to clean it.
And that leads to disorganization. And like when you have so much stuff, it's very difficult to compartmentalize and organize things. And then like once you start to find the things like with the cards that mean the most to you, and you start to eliminate the rest of the miscellaneous extraneous nonsense, then you can really start to understand like what makes you happy and what makes you feel clean,
Mm-hmm. It's been a tough one. Like I've just had so many highs and so many lows, and this last low was like just so bad. But there's just something about it that like I've weighed all like, okay, do I want a job? Do I want to do that? And it's like I don't think that I do. And like I took everything away, and that was still kind of there. I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to continue to pursue. Let's just do it. But now that we're gonna do it differently this time. We're gonna build it slower. We're gonna make it mean something. so we don't hopefully have another bust, because I don't know if I can go bust again. I mean, I can, but I just don't know if I'll, that's like the problem with resilience. That was one of my top 3 core values. I was like, I like have the ability to just bounce back from anything, but that also can be a crutch. It's like, well, if I fail, I'll be okay. It's like, how about just not fail? How about maybe you won't be okay? Keep that, maybe, It's like when I'm like here in the groceries today, it's just like, I don't want to care. I wanted to get a Lyft home. I wanted to just call Lyft to come get me. It's probably $7. Like, nope, carry the groceries home. Feel that pain. Make you stronger. Maybe make you next time you're about to do something stupid.
You'll remember that.
Remember when you didn't have a car because everything in your life went to shit, and you had to declutter? Do you want to declutter again, or like let's just clean it right now?
The weirdest part though is like the decluttering process of your life is like the most growth I've seen in a long time, and I think it's like I don't know what to make of it, because I don't think you need to hit rock bottom in order to like build yourself up like this, but maybe you do. I don't know. It's fucking cool though. Whatever it is.
The cool thing is this rock bottom is a lot higher than this bottom was. If this was, I don't think I went rock bottom. I don't know if rock bottom's death, or like, I'm addicted to drugs in the street, but it's cool like knowing that like my rock bottom's pretty fucking cool, dude. It's like, wasn't that bad. It's just like hanging out in my apartment, making music and making videos, and like that, like it wasn't so bad. Like I had to, just make the next rock bottom higher now. Like the next rock bottom is like, instead of being broke, like, oh, I'm at 50K or I'm at 25K, or just make that, threshold a little bit higher each time.
If you're going to live a life of some kind of organized chaos, you want to notch at least, right? When you do the improve, you notch it. So that way, like, you can go up, and if you fall, you're still falling to a point that's elevated from the last point because you notched that point, right?
That's, essentially what I've done.
Yeah.
This one, I think, this just bottom of, this low time in my life. Dude, it's so funny because as low as it is, it's felt good. There's just been like that, like, grittiness of it. It's like, had to get in there a little bit, had to fucking feel things again. I look back at a lot of the times in my life and I was the happiest at some of the lowest points. Weirdly, when you look back, you go, it was like that movie I made you watch on, you just forget sometimes that, like, when you have, like, being like the starving artist is okay.
What movie?
That one on the window where the two neighbors, where they were watching the young couple and like just being envious of them the whole time, and then that young couple was looking at them and like, oh man, I can't wait till have kids, and
they look so happy, and yeah,
and grass is greener and type shit. It's just things are simpler right now because I don't have, my goals are pretty straightforward. It's been kind of fun. It's been fun. Like, it has been. There's been something fun about like all of this stuff, and I'm by no means completely out of it, but I'm trending in the right direction, and it feels good. And it's funny because I'm trending in the right direction, and in that right direction, like that's when the decluttering didn't happen at rock bottom. It's happening on the way up, which is interesting. Just like, okay, get rid of some stuff, clean some stuff, just fix the leaks, fix the broke. The sink's leaking, go fix it. Just fix the little things, just weekly improvement.
And there are a lot of things that you can't control, right, in life, and you're doing a good job at like, okay, what are the things I can control? Where can I improve? And like, you're identifying them and you're improving upon them in a steady and sustainable manner, in a way that's going to stick with you. Even if you like go away from it, you know how to do it now. Mm-hmm. You know what it is.
And so, I've done, things like this before, but it's like, okay, just build that base stronger. Just like when you first start working out, you can't lift a lot of weight, but you get good at lifting a little bit of weight, and then you start to lift heavier weights. Like, I just had to kind of start the little weights again, kind of go back. It's fun.
On that note,
yeah, we can quit.
it was good.
Yeah, that was fun.
I appreciate you.
We do 2.5 hours. That ain't bad.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. Man. That
No, it
was
was
cool.
good. When you said tomorrow, I was like, why tomorrow?
Let's do it.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah. So, right on, dude.
The time is now.
Thanks for watching, everybody.